Okay, hello everyone. Let's get this meeting started. Thursday, May 25th, 2023.
That I gave that one right there.
Call to order. We have myself, John, Kathy, Mark, and Matt, our presidents. Will may be attending online. I think Sean is out of town. Johannan is.
I'm online, Tommy.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, guys.
Did not see Will or Joe.
I would normally call for approval of requirements, but we do not have them. I am a little concerned about the whereabouts of Johannan. I'm going to call her directly after this meeting, make sure she's okay. I have not heard back email correspondence from her in the past week. If all comes to fail, can someone who was at last month's meeting put together a briefing? The video is posted. We need to reflect on what actually took place, because we do need minutes to approve or something. Okay. Officers reports. I'll go first. This is just some items that I wanted to address, not necessarily of importance, but just to make sure they get out here. I know, Patty, you've been working on electricians. I think I broke this in before we talked about it. We need an outlet over at the irrigation panel right out here by the lake house. We did get one guy in here giving us a quote last week. It's outrageously expensive. I mean, laugh him out of here. He wanted like $800 to put in a single duplex outlet up there.
An outlet where I'm trying.
Across the street at the irrigation panel.
Oh.
I need an outlet there to plug in the Wi-Fi. And yeah, he was ridiculous. So we're still on the hunt to try to find someone else to do it cheaper. Shouldn't be a really hard job. Shouldn't be really expensive.
This is sole proprietor. Is this a small businessman?
No, this is actually a bigger company. This is in the Hillsborough County booklet. I mean, guys.
Don't use the green book. I'm saying.
I think it was too big. He wasn't talking to me. I was quoting everything through a computer and I wait 15, 20 minutes for it to come back and looking for a guy that's gonna say 250 to do it right now. We're just not.
So I've been having success with a small jobs electrician.
Okay.
They're a franchise, but they basically come out with everything we agree to. They'll just do
They'll
it.
do it right there. That's what we need that number. That'd be perfect. Paint, I know we've been working on for the pool. We got a quote that just came through. Shutters, we have to start working on some sort of idea there, because those shutters are bad. And I don't just mean the shutters, I mean the divider separations at the pool that are breaking the desk. You know, a piece of aluminum.
I've come up with an idea for that I can present in the next meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great. Delegate voters and staggered terms, something that was briefly touched last month that I unfortunately couldn't join, and I'm not sure exactly how the conversation went. It was really meant to just kind of get an eye-opener idea out there of the topic. And what I wanted to stress on delegate voters is, and everyone see that we do have a current problem with any voting and election process in this board. We don't have anything weighted. Most of our votes come from both Encore and Sagewood, and the rest of the community falls to the wind. Any of the fault to us, they just don't participate, they don't vote, they're not very active. Delegate voters is a way to make that active voting, make the forum easier, and be able to making charter changes easier in the future, for future. I want to have a special meeting just based on that. We're going to get George available, but I just wanted the board to understand the why, so that they can do a little research on your own, think about questions and items to bring to that table at that meeting when we get George. Staggered terms. This started 2 years ago when we were elected. It's coming back to bite us in the butt again. We got to do something about it at some point. Some of the options were extend terms to 3 years and 2 years. Other options were to drop off 2 year. Was it? Oh, I'm sorry. Other options were to, I don't even remember. I got to look at it.
Drop a certain number.
Drop a certain number this year and a certain number next year. Bottom line is we must get on the practice of where we're having an election cycle every year. We can't afford to have a board wipeout ever, period, no matter what.
Yeah, the election committee, Tommy, on that had suggested to extend, the terms of 3 years, and then basically stagger every year, a third of, three and one and so forth, and overlap it so that there's always at least a third of the members being up for election.
Correct. Again, just ideas to think about, folks. That is a conversation I'm going to group in with delegates voting when we have George on call during that special meeting. In my opinion, they're kind of two of the same, and they could be grouped together as such.
And when do you want to have this meeting with George?
I don't know.
I mean.
A
we
week or
are-
two?
Yeah, I mean, just point it out. We're now at almost the end of May. June is next week.
Yeah, it has to be fast. Next week. I mean, I just got to call George. I just wanted to make sure that everyone's aware of it, and I'll put it out next week.
I would like to participate, if I can. I'll be back on the 3rd if that's helpful.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a closed meeting, so to speak. We're not gonna do it like this and record the whole thing, I don't think, but it'll be here, and if anyone wants to jump in and join, they can, because the truth is, this is a public conversation that we're going to be having with them. We're not in litigation or anything. They're just ideas moving forward, and anyone who's interested in understanding should be at least available to hear the conversation. Only other thing I wanted to point out here in the report is there's confusion on timeline that we're getting beat up right now on Facebook for like the pool chairs. If something is not, HOAs are a little bit like companies, but not like companies when it comes to decision making and action taking. This is mainly for residents. If it is a non-emergency situation, a well pump blew up, there's water floating away somewhere, electrical damage. If it's a non-emergency situation, everything goes through a process. Expect a 2 to 3 month turnaround time on resolve. That's just the way board processes work. We're going to sit here at a meeting. We meet once a month. Patty's going to tell us we have a problem with this. A resident's going to bring something to our attention. We're going to say, okay, now we're in discovery. There's a problem. If we're lucky, the second meeting, 2 months in, we now have quotes to repair the pool. And if the quotes are suffice, and there are enough of them, and there are no questions about the quotes, we can then make a motion to accept that correction, which gives the person making the correction, the contractor, another 4 weeks to make that correction, now on month 3. If things didn't go well and we need more proposals, it could be 4 months out. So when people ask things on pool chairs, like, why weren't they purchased immediately? Because we cannot go to Costco and buy pool chairs. It's a 3 to 4 month turnaround process. It is a non-emergency situation. I just want everyone to understand that. We're kind of bound to these rules. Unless it's an emergency situation, they must go through the process. If anyone has any other further questions about that, please contact myself, Mark, Patty, and we can walk you through it. That's all I had. Anyone else on officer reports?
Obviously, with the standard overview that I do each time, I believe that's been printed out and put in front of you. The one thing I do want to report is that the auditor has been looking through our paperwork, and we are in process of getting the audit completed. So I will keep you posted on the terms of that. There were a few things we discussed with him today, and that need a little correction from the bookkeeping side, but he seems to think that he'll have it done maybe next week. So this report is showing a little bit of variance from last time. It looks like Paired Villas has pulled out of the red and has about $2,000 in operating funds to spend on things, and it's probably going to be something that comes up in some proposals here shortly. So the master is kind of sloping down a little bit. It has to do with the fact that we spent money on the flooring and so forth in advance to have it done for the June install, for the gym equipment and so forth. So we'll pull out of that a little bit in the next month or so, but that's what we have at the moment to play with. And then you'll see that Westlake has gone backwards. That's mostly because we got the plants installed, paid those bills, and now we're seeing that in the next couple of months, if we had problems with collections, we'd be a little bit behind. But we haven't ever had problems with collections in Westlake. It seems to be pretty consistent, so I'm not that concerned about it. I just want you to see that there's no extra spending done on those two areas for the next couple of months at least. So that gives a pretty good overview to help us talk about what's coming next in some of our financial conversations for purchasing. Other than that, I don't have too much more to report on that end. The planting did go well, by the way, for Westlake, and is done, and it's starting to look pretty nice. They're starting to fill a little bit. It'll take about a year for them to fill in nicely, but it'll look great.
Have a good one. And looks like you get to have lots of fun. Have a good Memorial Day.
Kathy, you, Stagewood seems to still be in the red. Is that due to still trying to catch up from their deficit from last year?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, one thing that did change, you see that there's a $9,000 uncleared payable. That's a good comment on your part, by the way. We got some latent bills from Sunrise that showed up this month that they said, hey, these weren't ever paid. And none of us have receipt of ever getting them. So this is 2 months service that they never sent us in last year that they want us to pay. So that brought them another $9,800 backwards that we weren't anticipating. It's actually expenses from last year. So I haven't paid them. They're sitting in there to be discussed with them when we get back. But basically, there were 4 bills. 2 of them were smaller for the master and these 2 monthly service fees. They said they never received. They didn't receive them. There's no question about it, but we never got billed for them as well.
Sean, Tom is here this evening. And
Hey,
I know
Tom.
Hey, Sean.
we did discuss this last week at our Wednesday meeting. Have you had any further information from your end of this?
No, I have not actually. The ones that we got, the invoices that Sean sent over, they're still regarding Kevin. Instead of having those just adjusted a little bit, we just wiped all of those. So it's the outstanding one. I found out about it at the same time you guys did. So I'll work with them to get an answer for the next meeting. If not, I'll bring them on the next meeting. So we can talk about this today.
Thank you. That's what we like.
Was this uncovered in your audit or how did you find
I
out?
had in Sunrise, I don't have anything to do with any of the AP or billing or anything like that, completely done downstream from what I do for you, so I didn't even know that they had sent the invoices until Sean didn't notify me about it, so not anything I was aware.
Yeah, he wasn't aware until last Wednesday when we brought it to his attention at our meeting.
It was discovered because we got an email from Sunrise. Basically, it wasn't anything that was anticipated under those pretenses. It doesn't change their deficit because we did have anticipated that they would be spending this expense. It just the money's still not there to cover it. So it did jack them up again another 10 grand that we didn't have before. So my instincts are that we do owe the money. The service was provided. But, getting bills 7 to 8 months later is something that's unusual. They didn't go to associate from what I can tell, went through that as best I could, but they could have, and that may have been the problem.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Community managers report.
So I have one more thing.
Yep.
So we're coming up on summertime and I have a proposal which would solve a couple issues. So we always do food truck events up at the pool. All our social events seem to happen this way, but the Encore and the Oaks in the back are not feeling the love. So this summer, I'd like to propose a lasting kind of summer festival that takes place every year in July-ish. This year I proposed July 1st to consist of food trucks, band, and bouncy houses, whatever we can independently raise outside of the HOA. On top of that, I'd like to do something right this year that we never, I don't say we don't do it right, but I'd like to do things right this year with regards to, everybody knows that fireworks are done in the community. There are fireworks shows. I would like to do a licensed, insured, properly executed fireworks show in accordance with national fire requirements, safety standoffs from occupied buildings and all of that. It provides the service to the community that we're doing anyways, and then it would also do it in a safe, insured manner. I'm not looking for funds from the HOA. What I'm looking for is an endorsement to push the word of this out on via Appfolio, on the HOA Facebook page, and to address it with the social committee and say, hey, is this something that you could put on the calendar as something that you could publicize?
Are these two separate events? that you're
So it
talking
would be
about?
one event, it would be the
Okay.
Fish Hawk Ranch West, we could even call it the HOA, Summer Slam, Summer Bash. Something along those lines, come up with a catchy name for it. We're already in talks with a really great cover band that usually plays down at the Raccoons, if anybody's familiar with the Raccoons, they get some great bands down there. And yeah, we just want to do something truly fantastic down there.
Where would you do it?
Where? So in the some of the community spaces down there, some of the CDD spaces.
So in other words, you'd have to also present this to the CDD.
So the fireworks show, it will be licensed by the county. So the county signs off on that, and that license is already being pursued.
Okay.
And yeah, as far as the rest of it, you know, use of CDD space is, it's authorized for a lot of things. And if you check the Florida statutes, it is there for community use. That's what, it's not like you don't put a fence around it and block it off. So,
I had been in a CDD meeting and it was brought up by Debbie about the use of that CDD property was used. So that's all the only reason I happened to mention it.
You're right. My take on it, Debbie's not wrong. She's correct. She will often state fireworks are not allowed on CDD property. They're not. Unless they're sanctioned by the county and permitted.
And that's,
So I think he is going about the right way.
absolutely.
Grab the permit, grab the named insurance. Why not?
Go for
the
it.
insurance will name both the HOA and the CDD as being protected. So,
Awesome. Sounds great.
Cool.
so with, unless anybody has an objection, I'll bring it to the social committee this week. And then we'll see if we can get that folder to push out notices.
Great.
And you said July 1st, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Does there need to be a motion for that, guys?
Do we need a motion for that?
I'm not sure if we need a motion.
We're not spending any money.
We're not spending any money. There's no real call to action. I just wanted the board to be aware of what's going to be brought to the social committee so that the board doesn't go, where did this come from? We're hell bent against it.
So I think the only thing we would do is make a motion to sponsor it, or sponsor it.
Here.
Doris, I think is a good word, yeah.
I make a motion that our board approve co-sponsoring it with
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Sean.
Great.
Where are we? Community managers report.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Are you reading? Are you reading?
Are you reading?
I can do that.
Thank you.
This one right here, I believe. Long one this week, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see, community managers report. So Ballinger Irrigation has started the inspection and repairs of the properties. Gail, welcome, Gail. From Ballinger, attended the weekly landscape orientation meeting on Wednesday, and it was discussed that the portal and the process for the landscaping and irrigation will discuss things as needed. Tom and Neil from Sunrise Landscaping were also present at the meeting, and communication between them regarding any issues will be completed. True Green has applied the application for the entire community, is working on the areas that need the application to reinforce the strength of the turf and trees. That's good news. Sunrise Landscape has walked the property with management to confirm the locations for the items of concerns of homeowners. Okay. The fitness room is scheduled to be closed for painting, flooring, and removal of the equipment and install of the new equipment from June 1st to June 9th. There is a painting proposal for painting the fitness room, bathrooms, and hallways, as well as the lake house management office, and the trim in the lake house for the board to review. The painting can be done within the timeline of the week of June 1st to 7th. There are also 2 painting proposals for the pool house. Patty will have another within the next week, if possible, to compare. Management has completed 17 estoppel and resale inspections this month. The homes are all inclusive of the neighborhood, the Sandpiper Townhomes, and are completed. There were 5 of 17 done this month. What does that mean, Patty?
The 5 last ones, where the stop is for the sample.
Okay.
So they're bringing.
5 of 17 for Sandpiper. Got it. Thank you. Management has reached out to Hike Design to have a large map created for the breakdown of the delegates in the neighborhoods and to have an updated version of the Fishhawk Ranch West community. This is the company that has done this for Newland, excuse me, when the community was being built. They are currently locating the original copy and will update as needed. Once the cost is given for this, Patty will move forward with this, with a certain not to exceed amount. Jamin Services has completed the following. Finish the painting of the lake house chairs that will be returned to the lake house, building of new deck chairs near the fire pit, repaired the dog park gate twice, repaired the fencing around the small dog park to attach a chain link to the ground and secure locations that have been pulled up from the top rail, and repaired other portions of the fence around the dog park. Let's see. Patty and Jeremy walked the fence line of both the large and dog park. So don't know Jeremy is our maintenance person.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Why did we do the gate 2 times?
They broke. So the metal part in front of it came off, and then the other time, the other one had to be tightened. So it's the way that it's slammed and opened the close. It wasn't damaged.
So this is something that is just wear and tear, and will it at some point need to be replaced?
Possibly, but at this point, it's the matter of making sure it's tight and we'll replace it. I'm just gonna stop and look at it when we change the dog structure.
Since we're quick stop on gates, my opinion on the gates, especially our gates, will always need to be repaired. They're just, every couple of months they break.
Mhm.
Which brings me to make a note. The main gate of the pool, we need to replace the spring housing on it.
It's very slow again.
It's not just slow, it's not that way,
Is it?
because they keep pushing the gates all the way into the wall. You can see the indentation and stuff. Easy solution. You look at what I did to the left gate, a
Mhm.
little bit harder for Jeremy to do on the front gate, but nonetheless, he needs to core a hole through the brick. On the pipe in there, yeah, the gate's down. There, I got a rubber boot, I got the pipe, I got everything, just gonna core a hole and get it done. Then that will never break again. But don't replace that spring loaded mechanism until there's a gate stop.
Jeremy also installed the track and painted the wiring for the security cameras around the lake house. He cleaned the front entrance of the lake house that was discolored and removed the spider webs. And lastly, some light bulbs were ordered and they didn't fit, so he had to try a few throughout the lake house offices in the field. So he changed some light bulbs. All right. In regards to Sagewood, there are 2 proposals for the pressure washing of the homes in Sagewood. The trees in the front entrance of the community are currently on hold for the moment. The county would not sign off on the permit for natural landscape due to the owner listed at the county website as Rosetta.
Which now has been updated.
Okay,
We got the permits approved today when we don't have to install anything.
got it.
Patty, in addition to that, I was paying the pool permits today and Rosetta is still listed on there. I called them to get that changed as well.
Was that on the pool permits of the county?
Yep.
The guy's been here. He has a key fob to get in to do the
No,
inspection.
I mean, it shows the location and us as the owners, but the actual contact information and the email address that's on it is Rosetta.
In Westlake, the photocarpus have been installed. The last 35 will be installed Friday, the 18th of May.
Yep. So they.
And they have been installed.
Okay, so that's past tense. So they were
Tom's crew did that last Friday.
awesome. In the paired villas, the irrigation has been turned over to Ballinger and repairs would be proposed as soon as possible. Let's see, there have been some concerns about the irrigation boxes inside the garages and not watering or watering on their own. Some other notes here. Sandpiper Crest, the builder, Park Square, has completed the last section of the townhomes, but there are still many items that need to be completed before the builder leaves the property. Roads, sidewalk, light posts are not secure or working correctly daily and needs to be addressed before they leave the property. So there's something wrong in Sandpiper Crest.
Mhm.
And the builder needs to fix it
Right.
before they leave. Got it. Who's holding them accountable?
We are until Ballinger, Paul Jennings.
Yeah, so ball done, stays over. We'll have another meeting with them shortly.
They might have already been notified that they're gonna be going up, not happy why that's up.
Sorry, what, how could you?
Well, Jennings is the company that is gonna do the builder defect.
Okay.
So it'd be good if you put their name in that paragraph.
Well, they're separate, so.
Huh?
Okay, I think.
Just for references.
Let's see, pool maintenance. The Hillsborough County Pool Inspector has come to re-inspect, and some of the items were repaired, but not all. He has updated the open violations and given an additional 30 days till June 9th to have things fixed. A sign at the beach entry pool is required and will be ordered with the new signs. There have been proposed and approved a dollar amount. This additional sign will cost more than the approved amount. Management has reached out to Suncoast Pool for clarification for the pool violations, and emails and text messages are going unanswered. Yet they are doing the cleaning. Yeah, go ahead.
On the pool sign, folks, so I believe the total is like 325, three something for an additional sign. The original sign quotes that we had approved didn't include this sign. So what I'm being told is they want a sign. There's a big sign at the main lap pool on the building. We're replacing that. Then we're putting signs on the outsides of all the gates before you enter the pool. What he's saying he wants is he wants a sign by the kiddie pool facing the inside of the pool so it could be read from the pool. I know, my feelings are the same way.
And there's never been.
The point I'm getting at is we didn't order it. Finalizing the order tomorrow on the verbiage and getting back to that. I could slap on another sign, or we could just wait, see what happens, and if we need to order one at a later date, we know where to go and how to get it. Because the solution is, we're gonna be putting 4x6s into the ground on the outside of the gates. So I could position it to where if we need to add that one, slap it to the other side of the 2x6 so it's facing inside.
But is it required? According to the inspector?
According to the new inspector, yes. According to any other inspector, no. We've never had one, it's never been needed. So,
Did he show you this regulation that required this?
Yeah, they're gonna do the report.
it's not a written. It's an interpretation of a
Oh,
requirement, because he
okay.
said, yes, you have the one by the lap pool, but that's too far to see. So depending on who's looking,
And with this
the
one.
inspector's looking, he wants another sign. I don't know, you guys tell me what to do. You want me to put in another sign? I'll put in another sign. Why not?
My instincts are just get the sign and get it over with.
That's what my recommendation would be.
Okay.
And it
I
includes-
moved to get the missing sign and get it ordered.
All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? No, okay, order sign.
Did he approve the sign?
Hmm?
Did he approve the copy on the sign? Did he look at it?
We can get it.
No, I'm just saying, did he, the ones that are there, that they changed anything that the county requires that we put on, or he put on?
No, it's all exactly. We changed some of our verbiage, but all the county stuff we added to it. We didn't.
Okay.
in good shape there. Sorry.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to go backtrack 1 second to the paired villas and the irrigation thing, since that's received a lot of attention on Facebook this week. And just briefly comment on it. I know for those that are on Facebook, you probably saw my reply. For those that are not, briefly, I'll summarize. Basically, according to Paired Villas Charter, and we've discussed this before, the HOA is responsible for not only the sod and the paired villas, but also the irrigation system. This includes the timers, which are unfortunately placed inside the garages currently. So I know a notice went out, which some residents interpret as leave your garage door open all day long. That was never stated. What we would like is for residents to be available. Should a Ballinger representative ring your door, let them in so they can go into the garage and adjust the timer, which is necessary. If we weren't available today, they went around. I'm looking through some of the comments on Facebook, and it appears that they did go to some places, not others. Some people never, this one resident says that she was home all day and they never knocked on her door. Another resident says that Gail, this comment would be for you. Another resident says that the inspectors attempted to access the garage through her lanai door, which was locked, and she heard them and went out and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Hey, we're here to inspect your timer." And she said, "Okay, come on in." So mission accomplished in that case, but she asked maybe could they ring the doorbells instead of just trying to go in. We might be successful there.
There was a failure to communicate there, and I didn't realize it was supposed to go in that, the door was, I thought the garage door would be left unlocked, and we were just supposed to.
Tracking, yeah, I think a lot of people were very uncomfortable with leaving their houses unsecure, rightfully so. So
Yeah, this is Florida. They're gonna get shot.
Oh, I know, that's why I
It's
said,
gonna be with them.
if there's any question, I said,
Ring, knock, scream,
So a note to the residents, this is really important that the Ballinger gets to inspect the timers, because then we can verify that they are indeed set correctly and the grass is being watered correctly. So if the grass dies, we can automatically eliminate the irrigation issue. If entry is refused multiple times, there is a possibility that a resident could be held accountable if the grass is deemed to have died from improper watering. And the resident could be charged an assessment for the replacement of that. We want to avoid that entirely. In the future, the HOA has some solutions to move these timers to the outside of the house, so we don't have to infringe on the integrity of people's homes to simply adjust a timer. In the meantime, and I put this in my Facebook post for those that haven't read it, please treat Ballinger as any other service rep coming to your house, a cable guy, an appliance guy, your gas man. They give you a time frame. We're going to be there between 8 and noon or noon and 4, and you got to hang out and wait for them. If you want your cable, you're going to have to wait for them. If you want your grass, Ballinger's there to help you with this. So I think I touched on that long enough.
Well, I would like to add that they also treat them with respect. I understand that there were some issues today that the texts that came out were not treated with respect. And so please remember that these gentlemen that are out there are working not only for us, but for the homeowners also.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Very disheartening to hear.
Absolutely.
All right, let's continue. Let's see what else we got here. Pool maintenance. Did I read that paragraph yet? Okay, like that. And then, okay, going
You didn't mention Suncoast.
Suncoast.
We're last.
At the bottom, okay. Management has reached out to Suncoast Pool for clarification with the pool violations, and emails and text messages are going unanswered. Yet they're doing the cleaning and some repairs. What's that all about? They're not being responsive?
Yeah, they're not responsive.
Mhm.
We're having the same problem.
You have the same
Yeah.
guy.
You're the same guy, right?
Yeah.
So are we looking for somebody new?
Yes. I had one proposal, I'm not gonna find another.
Thank you.
All right. The pool house furniture quotes are included for review. We'll talk about that later. And pool house painting quotes are also included for review. Lastly, there are proposals for the landscaping at the pool house. And side note, I think that our pool is the crown jewel of our community. It is something that every member of the community can use. Not everybody has a dog. Not everybody can use the lake house. Not everybody cares to use the gym, but I think everybody can use the pool. And so I think that we should really think long and hard and prioritize some of those expenditures this evening. Collections. Mankin Law Group has been working diligently with the current 10 people in collections. There have been 2 paid in full and closed since last month. There are a few homeowners making payments to the law office to prevent the lien to move forward. There's one homeowner that is in collections process and is asking for a deposition the first week in June. And Tommy and Patty and I will be present for that call.
Let me, I guess I have a little bit of a question on that. So this person in question had given us a settlement offer today. We are not taking a settlement offer. It's like $4,000. It's completely, doesn't want to pay for any legal fees, pretty much it. But the question came up from the attorney is, do we want to count? And what do we want to count? Because it's the attorney's suggestion is that if we can counter and remove late fees and interest to close the deal, then it would be better than going to litigation. Now, I'll tell you my personal opinion on it is hell no. For a lot of reasons. One reason is this guy owes every last red cent, and there's no reason we should be let off the hook. Secondly, if we do decide to give a settlement offer and waive anything, we're then telling the rest of the community, you don't want to pay late fees, just wait it out. We'll offer you a settlement. I want the board to be aware, what are your thoughts on this? I also don't see any reason we would lose this case. He legitimately has not paid in 3 years and just owes the money outright. Side note, the reason we're going through this is because the gentleman happens to be an attorney. So he's using his craft and trade to burn some time, save some money. I'm not exactly sure yet. It's not 100% clear. It will become clear after his deposition.
Might be interesting for people to note that he's actually obligates about 38% of our outstanding collections.
He's our largest one.
38%, Sean?
Yes.
So that in of itself.
Yeah.
So I guess if you go to deposition, we can always regroup after the deposition.
Okay, yeah, if there's any new discovery that we're just missing, I don't think so, but I guess that's what a surprise deposition is, so.
Right.
So at this point, with the information that is available, I support you. No,
No comment, just reject.
no counter at all. He owes what he owes.
Concur.
I agree.
Right, and then go into the deposition and see what happens, and then if you feel there's need to, then we just regroup at that point.
Okay, fair enough.
John?
Hmm?
You feel the same way?
Oh, yeah, I actually had a homeowner in one of my communities who went all the way to foreclosure.
Yeah.
So it's the only lever we have. We just sit there and if they don't pay and we don't have anything else other than negotiate, we're letting the rest of the community down. And then that's all we can do is get the house. We have to.
I'm of the opinion that homeowners doing this, they're stealing from their neighbors.
Exactly, that's exactly.
It's the only way I can phrase it, and therefore I can't count that.
I just wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page.
I mean,
before tonight.
I certainly have no tolerance for this either. It's just he hasn't paid since way before associate left us. So, yeah, no.
yeah, this isn't some kind of emerging problem or something that you work with a neighbor.
All right, I think we're all in agreement. Let's press.
Yep.
We're already 45 minutes into this meeting.
It's all good meat to take.
So the last thing.
The last item is just a security memo, and the security committee new chairs here tonight to brief us on their work for the past couple months. They got some really good stuff to brief. Let's see, security, Patty wrote, the security committee has submitted a form from the security committee for the board to review. It outlines what it will cost to hire a Hillsborough County. I don't know what that is.
Sounds like the smoke detector.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll take a look at that tonight, as well as some other things they have to offer. That concludes the manager's report.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Betty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Patty Moore.
Okay, maintenance report. You want to go through anything specific in here?
No, I wrote this and then he sent it on Sunday,
Right,
so. I'm just gonna keep that in his file, so if anyone has any questions.
okay. If anyone has any questions on that, let me know, but it's, we went over half of it already. Committee reports. Anyone here from a committee?
But I have no report.
On the report, Joanne's not present.
Security.
Security. What you got there?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
You want to come up
Scott,
to
can you come up closer so that people can hear you?
So a little backstory before we start briefing, for the residents that don't know, about 4 months ago, we formed a security committee comprised of members of the community. They were given a list of 6 problems that we have in the community and asked to solve as many as they could with $100,000 budget. Take it away, sir.
Alrighty, so those, this little slide to run through, those issues were issues here at the lake house, issues at the pool. After hours amenity monitoring, which is the lake house and the pool. Issues with school traffic, street parking. So our first top recommendation would be to hire an off-duty Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputy. preferably every day of the week. So one of your questions is, it depends if a deputy wants overtime. I think you'd probably get at least 3-4 days a week. But the idea would be they would sometimes be stationary at the lake house, sometimes stationary at the pool, drive back and forth, do a couple spot checks, and it's a minimum of 3 hours. For the entire year, what John had determined before he stepped down was about $18,000 for the year, and that would be for every day of the week. That would be our first recommendation to help mitigate any of the issues that we've had with after hours damage, or, you know, just a presence would just deter a lot overall, in our opinion.
Excuse me, you said $18,000 for the year for how many hours?
It would be 3 hours a day.
5 or 7 days.
But isn't,
That is based off 7 days a week.
but the form that was filled out here was for 5 hours.
Which one is that?
John dropped this off.
This-
Oh, so I got a spreadsheet that had, I may have looked at the wrong thing, but his form said $18,000. So what I had was 3 hour minimum. If that's based off 5 hours, then it's based off 5 hours. Let's see if I can find it for you.
Yeah, because this says, it says start time is 9 PM, end time is 2 AM, that's
Okay.
5 hours.
Then I assume that's the 18K would be involved in 5 hours.
Look like this.
I didn't- I didn't
Well,
see it.
mathematically, that doesn't work out.
Let's check this out.
28.
This is
It's roughly $10 an hour, guys.
Yeah, and that doesn't work out because the wages here on this form are $37 for regular rate and $43 an hour on holiday.
So
Oops.
So to just readjust,
Right, right.
look at the costing.
Yeah, we'll just have to reevaluate the cost on that one.
But that was based off 7 days a week, and like I said, I doubt that you'll have 7 days a week.
Okay.
those numbers have to be way off, folks, because if it's 37 on the contract, you're talking about $67,000 for 5 hours a day.
Well, and not only that, there's additional costs involved here. There's a $4 per deputy per hour administration fee and a 25 cents per mile mileage fee if a HCSO vehicle is used. So I feel that 18K is significantly.
So then what I
under-
would suggest do is find out what you want as a board. If you want 40K a year, then we can't go over 40K a year. If you want 30K a year out of the 100,000, and then set determine how much on it, Hillsborough County that you want to spend for the year. So based off that, then 7 days a week is out of the question.
If I may, and Mark and I had talked to John about this just a few weeks ago. The main problem of what we need, and John has proved this himself, and he did a damn good job with it, is we need someone to close the amenities 7 days.
So let me
Yeah,
get, so the next one would be a private security company as the pool manager. We've gotten 2 quotes, $30 an hour and $20 an hour from 2 different companies. Originally, I was told, and that's another one of your questions, would be March from October at the high points of the pool season. So this is based off of that, but your question today, it would be, obviously, it wouldn't be the 26K, it'd be a little bit more. So the idea would be to have someone at the pool, a private security company, up until the hours of 9:30. 9:30 being, they close out the pool.
Right.
And they come over here and they check this. But then it just determines what hour you want to start it. Is it 2:30, or do you want to wait a little bit later in the day? Like 3:30, 4:30, so.
gotcha. Yeah, later in the day is fine. Again, and that was part of the talks we had with John too, you know. It's fine if we have someone 7 days a week that's able to close these amenities, and then the sheriffs take over for the later hours of patrol when they can. How that works and what costs that comes to, I'm not sure. And pool monitor, $30 to $20 an hour, that's not bad. will I'm presuming they're gonna do more than model pool, right? They could come here, they could clean up, they could clean up the game.
Yeah, it's what? Cleaning up, I didn't ask them about cleaning up, but
There's a lot of-
whatever
Yeah.
criteria we put down, they're
They're-
basically gonna do. So the next one down, the active advanced warning system, so this is show you a picture. It basically looks like this. It's a pole cam, right? So. I wish Jason was able to make it. He could sit here and brief me on this 7 days a
Sure.
week for 8 hours. He's just the knowledgeable one. I'm gonna give you the high points of it. You can also add LPR to it. So you can put it at. Position at the front of here, you can position at the front of the pool house, and then eventually. Other areas of the neighborhood. It's kind of like a phase. We're not gonna be able to do it of them all that we want. First year, for about $5,000 a system. The bottom of that's kind of misleading. It says monthly fee next to 20, but it's about $250 a monthly fee per camera. With that, what can be done is the notifications to one of your other questions was. You can set someone up for an email, text. Or you could potentially have a device already here, say in the management office, that they could come, they have a badge, and they could come and check it out. Any movement, this thing also talks. Hey, get out of here, whatever you want it to say. It's run on solar, so they would get an alert if someone were to enter where they're not supposed to be entering. So that's another in place of if someone can't be here at night. It's just another mitigating.
How many devices are you suggesting?
To start, potentially 3 or 4 for the first year. They're about 5,000 each.
So that's $27,000 if we implemented it in July to spend on the monthly service fees and the devices themselves. Okay,
Let me ask, what are we gaining with this versus what we already have? I can tell you one thing is a gain is motion detected on. If that's the only gain, you can do that. You must.
One of the things that was brought up leading up to this committee was people have suggested LPRs.
Mhm.
That system alone, the first year to have it is like $5,000. So that you would be able to have all this. This also does biometrics, or not biometric, facial recognition.
Facial detection,
Recognition. And then you go back into the system,
recognition can identify someone to a name.
not a name, if you match multiple people, the same person.
Detection.
Detection.
The only reason I'm getting a little specific on it is because the unified AI systems do AI detection.
So, so that would tie in with, Hillsborough County should that work out, right? The fourth bullet is
You said this would tie in with the county.
not the county, the off-duty person, they're not off-duty, they're just, they're working overtime hours being paid by a third party. So anytime you see a cop at a sporting event, you see a cop at a Publix, that's being paid by Publix, that's being paid by the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're still working in their full authority, they're just being paid overtime hours. So when I say off-duty, they're just working here for overtime hours.
Sure. There's still a shadow.
Yes. They could potentially have an email or text alert on someone entering where they're not supposed to be, or if it could be set up, and they suggested it could, a third device that's owned by HOA, and they can come check it out at their shift and then, return it. And that way, there's not worrying about getting their email that if it's, because it's going to be different costs, likely. Ideally, it'd be people that live close and they don't want to do it all the time because it's on their way home for 3 hours of overtime. So, but that's unpredictable because we don't know if there will be cops available that want to do it. Which would lead potentially extra money left over at the end of the year. We don't spend that for HDSO, then we could have potentially these other help with mitigation or other ideas as we come through. Because we could find out that after the first year of these two, that maybe they're not effective and we wouldn't move forward. Kind of goes in with the next one, the radar speed mitigation, the signs that show that how fast you're going. Speed bumps doesn't seem like it's gonna be a logical thing to do, not really logical, but capable of doing, through the county. So the first year, in the first phase, we would suggest about 4 signs. They cost roughly, again, around $5,000. 2 signs would be on watercolor. And this is obviously not set in stone, but watercolor on either side. If you're coming from Fishhawk Boulevard, you would maybe set it up around hydrangea, blue hydrangea, or Barrington Sour is enough where people are starting to pick up speed. And then coming from this side over, there's a play area on the left that's kind of open. Some kids were playing some baseball there today. It would be in that area. So not necessarily halfway through, but they may be a quarter way through on each side. Then the other one right out here to where the trail would be coming this way. There's a lot of people crossing the road that they're just past the Oaks, and then the other one may be over by the elementary school.
I like the idea. I have 2 questions on it. Do they do anything other than just flash and show the poster? Are they taking any type of monitoring, or holding any plate information? Second question is there any research on what the usefulness is of these? Any statistics showing
So-
what 5 cars slow down? 4 out of 5 cars?
All the information Bill gathered and forwarded to you. And they can-
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, there is some. I read through the email on this, there is some actual quantifiable data in these things, harkening back to the psychology of someone seeing that they're doing something wrong, and it does work. It triggers people to slow down. If you've ever driven down Bay Shore, you see them all along Bay Shore. It tells you how fast you're going. And people slow down when they see them. Some people don't.
I
It doesn't
agree.
affect them.
They have to be effective. I don't know how effective.
But I would also indicate though that by the park. The main park.
Going down,
Shelley.
Yeah.
Because there's no, we tried to get a stop sign, there's no stop sign.
So
What would be nice is if they would record some sort of downloadable data. You could see what the trends are, what people are speeding, and I don't know if they do that or not.
I'm not sure. I looked back.
Okay.
Sent a lot of information on that. And then again, if this wasn't deemed effective, then we have them. And we want to proceed to purchase other ones. And
We have, there's
come up with
no,
other ways.
there's no subscription fees or anything. You have it,
There's
and you
no,
put it
it's
up.
all,
and it
it's
works.
run by solar,
Mhm.
so. The 2 of the other points on here, school traffic, after hours parking, but we don't have a solution for that. The school traffic, I know it's a pain in the butt. People just have to deal with it for 30 minutes a day. If somehow there was a way to move the cars, guess what they're gonna be doing? They're gonna now be mobile throughout the neighborhood, and it's gonna be more dangerous because you're gonna have dozens and dozens of cars moving instead of sitting still. So after hours parking with no authority really to tickets and stuff like that. If there's a way to, that's more for a board if you're able to issue fines. One thing that we talked about in here, I don't know if it's ever discussed, is locking down these doors at 6 o'clock. And if someone had an after hours party, they have like an admin key that they would give a deposit down. And then that way, if someone left, say at 9 o'clock, but this was open till 10, that the doors were automatically locked, you don't have to worry about it. I heard there was an issue with people, the doors were open.
There was, but that was, I'm trying to remember what that was. We haven't had issues in here in a while.
Okay,
But part of the problem was on the events, we usually schedule them to be unlocked because you have an event of 50 people, 1 person has a bathroom. Brings an issue, so that's why we usually say, okay, if the events scheduled for Saturday or Sunday, the place is just open for that set hours of event. Which just makes it why it's more important that we have someone close up and be able to come here and check out afterwards. And then we lock them up directly after the event, and it's back to just badge only. I think once we got down to badge only, we didn't have problems, or at least not recently.
Fairly simple fairly simple to put in rules for those events and have them time out and lock the doors when they lock too. So it's not so difficult to do on the access system.
Right, I'm sorry, Patty. I agree, Sean. Patty, you were saying?
Last night, somebody used the room 5:30 and 6:30,
Mhm.
and they had left 2 of those doors.
Yeah, that is,
That's,
and we've discussed that internally. There are easy, cheap solutions to that. Just put a deadbolt on the doors.
that's why they can't use them.
And if they can't use them if they, or make sure the party requests. You get a key, we gotta get a key back, they gotta lock it. The other thought I had was I could put mag locks on these doors, no readers, just mag locks, and tie them into the main system. So that when this is under lock, these are under mag locks, even if they left the door unlocked, it would still be mag locked on them. I could do that cheaply, actually. Those mag locks, I think are like $100 a pop. 1, 2, 3.
And just to finish up, obviously, some of this, with HSO, that the cost was off, but we had about 85,000. I know the budget's 100,000. We talked about at the meeting is planning on each year if this budget stays at 90,000, that would give this at the end of the year $10,000 leeway, because of especially with private security or cops, those prices go up, and it could go up during the year. That way there's a cushion, we're not going over. And if
Just
there's
remember,
anything left over, if there's anything left over, then those mitigation things or other things that come, other ideas that come up as the community goes on, we could use that to spend it, as it gets close to the end of the year. If we find these other things effective, the camera thing and the radar thing, then something we can do. And then we're all in agreement, a roving private security company is a waste of money. The pool thing would be the best option for a private security company.
So, I want to make sure we get that over to Scott, the proposal we had. We did meet with one company, Securitas. Probably gonna meet with another 2 more. I want to get you a very long proposal, all detailed out, and I'll make sure I get it to you. Okay. He comes in at about 83,000,
3 naps to get through.
but they're using, and they would be using, they have their own communication device with GPS, so we could track them. They will be here 7 days a week on time that we need them. It covers all of that, including parking issues at the pool. If you keep forcing the drivers to spin around on Village Center and stack up on Village Center Drive. But to your point, if that became an issue and cars were all over the place, then we would just drop that function.
Or you're saying that they can move,
I'm saying yes. I'm
they
saying,
have the authority to move.
I'm saying they have the authority to be John Loving. You have to understand what I'm saying. I say that man was a man with a flashlight and he moved trucks.
He did, and he also, there's a lot of liability there.
This is not a liability hiring use company. So you give them a flashlight, you give them our gem card, you give them an iPhone so they have access to our Facebook page for immediate response. They have access to our security system through Unify, and they have access to everything here. At that point, and even the hourly wage, they came in cheaper than the sheriff's department. Again, this is just first quote. I want to get another 2, and I want you to really look at them. Because we're talking really close in prices on this stuff, and I'm feeling more benefit just based out of the Securitas meeting that we had. It could all be fluff, it could all be hot air, right, and not wood, but if we're able to track them.
I talked to 2 companies today, and I didn't give them my background, and one of them told me that they have arrest authority,
Yeah, they what?
that they can arrest people. So,
Well,
that's what I mean,
yeah,
there's love there.
Yeah, there's love there. Yeah, there's no doubt. No, they cannot.
And then just a quick reminder to everyone, see something reported, I see people say, oh, someone broke in, let the security committee know. No, call the cops.
No call cops, right.
Everyone, the residents are the first line of defense in anything. You put a floodlight up, but don't leave stuff in your cars. I
Leave your cars unlocked.
can't emphasize that enough as a cop. Just don't do that. And you'll see break-ins won't happen. So,
Or in a big city, they can stress that during holidays and stuff.
oh,
I can appreciate the fact that you took over this committee late in the game, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I think this is a good presentation. I would like to see. In the next 2 weeks, build out the sheriff's option, the pool monitor option, and then the radar speed mitigation option. I'm not so interested in this one. Just because we have cameras everywhere right now, so that would kind of duplicate a capability we already have, if we can use that money somewhere else.
Which one are you pointing? to?
So
Number
the turning as sky shield, so just so everybody can see what that looks like. Here, it's like a R2D2 in the sky.
Uh-huh.
You put it on a pole. Those in
Yes.
wetland.
I'm not gonna lie, it's badass. I'm sure it does everything it says it does. Probably
Yeah.
has a mobile 3G card in it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's powered by cell phone, pick your, right, but we have cameras, right now, we have cameras everywhere, we just need someone to monitor the cameras.
They will do, if we wanted to get an AI detection one, we can, but
Mhm.
even short of that, they'll do email based on movement, if you
Mhm.
alert right to your phone. So
Yeah.
we have some of that capability already built in.
Next suggestion, can we get the landscaping folks? So that.
They can leave.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The only thing I would add is we are also looking at, that they got the pricing there, or not the pricing yet, but in the future. Better lighting. Around
Yeah.
the pool and then around here.
I agree with that.
I think this is good that we
Those
attack
are
this
a little
from two
undecided.
sides, so you have your options. And then at the same time, Tommy, you go with the full on. One company option, and we put those two against each other and we see what culminates. You could probably get more hours of coverage with this. Because yours only gave us 8 hours per day, whereas this one, we could get possibly 12 hours of coverage a day, maybe more. So that would be the advantage to this plan, I would say.
Right.
If you want, put Johnson, you. That.
Okay, yeah, you and I will link up after this and we'll get this
I got
together.
any question now, I got it wrong.
Any questions for, thank you.
No,
Thanks.
thank you, Scott.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
That'll send you all that stuff.
Yeah, please.
Okay, tabled items, do we want to look at any of that?
Yes, the sorter.
Sort of.
Do you want to go with landscaping?
I would,
Yeah,
Yeah,
before we do
there-
that, can we
Yeah, we
do
most definitely.
Sunrise and Ballinger so these people can leave?
Tom likes being with us.
You know,
Tom
and-
loves
No.
being
And I know I said this
with us.
before, but I'm gonna reorder these. Next month, landscaping irrigation, you're gonna be up first above all. This is just, you shouldn't have to wait for this.
scintillating as it probably is.
Oh,
We gotta be careful to start charging us.
Yeah, I do.
No, I fully understand. Thank you.
Okay, for Tom, we have the proposals from the. pool house.
This is which one, I'm sorry?
We picked the full house,
Okay.
yeah, we've got a number of different ones here. Yes.
Yes, but it's all for the pool. Flowers in the pool.
Oh, look at this,
Look at that.
pretty.
I have a
Are
picture
these
here.
samples of what the flowers look like?
Yes.
Yeah, I Googled them last night.
You do good flowers.
I did Google, yeah, I want to know what we're planting. We're planting something, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exciting. isn't it?
It's really-
This is before or after
It needs-
stuff.
Bro, that's what happens, when you live on 3 months, you stay up at night looking at the house.
Okay, you've got the floor.
Okay, so has everybody seen the proposal?
I have, so I'm guessing we're starting with the pool area.
Are we talking, which one do you want to start with?
Where do you want to start?
So I see a sound.
I have sod,
that's right.
I have plant.
So I brought with me a copy of the pool area flowers. That's the one, I guess, the shrub renovations that I wanted to. Gotta try to make a stab at. I brought one copy. Other copy if anybody needs it, but yeah, we evaluated all the areas. I know there's some areas that are not included on this, that kind of up to the outside of the perimeter of the pool, inside of the sidewalk, so stuff that we maintain, but I wanted to focus kind of the early development and getting some of the high visibility stuff inside the pool. So a lot of this is updating, removing some of the stuff that's kind of gone by in the areas, kind of pulling some of that plant material out and staying with the same.
Are you talking about this one that has 7 different areas?
Yeah.
8851.
Exactly, pool area plant bed renovations,
And you-
2023 is its own front.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
So it's keeping some recurrent themes, right? So if stuff on the left and the right kind of mirror each other, so I don't want to make, so one is completely opposite, so I want to keep things matching up and kind of the way they are. So again, I've listed each bed by location and kind of what we're looking to do and what we're looking to install, and I've sent kind of stock internet photos of what each of the plant material looks like. And again, I think this is something that normally we would wait until the rain season kind of officially kicks off, just to kind of help with the water. Obviously, that's going to also involve Ballinger, just kind of doing the full thorough irrigation inspection. And possibly reworking some of the drip irrigation notifications based on how we install plants, so it'll be kind of a cooperative effort between the teams. Questions on that?
I don't have a question on the plants. My $8,800, I don't know if we have the money, it's a question for Sean, but my bigger concern is even if, when we choose to do this, we really need to paint first. Because we have a lot of stuff over there on those back walls that need to be done, and they're never gonna be able to get back there properly. That's my only-
Timing is going to be interesting on all of that, but we did allot $16,000 in the improvement budget for planting. That's for the master only.
That's for the what? I'm sorry.
Master,
Okay.
So I can break these out, certainly, so if you guys decide I wanna do 2 areas or 3 areas or 1 area, I can kind of break this, provide the proposal down and break that by segment.
So Sean, you said this goes under the master. Right now, we only have $8,736 in operating funding.
right. Well, actually, remember that all the monthly expenses that are in that 173 on that sheet include everything on the budget. Okay, so a portion of that is, of course, for the planting. Yes, do we have we were spending it in some areas faster, and it should pan out. The timing is wrong. We just don't have the resources at the moment. So, but it is in the budget, and right now we're running in line in budget, so it's just not a good time.
Okay.
Well, that's my point is, there's a difference between a budget
Right.
and having a budget and the funding.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this case, there's a projection of the $16,000 being available, and that would be ideal at the year end, not in the middle of the year.
Okay.
We spent some of our funds, discretionary funds to pool equipment and, painting and flooring that we didn't anticipate doing.
Well, based on that alone, and in addition to it can't come first in the order of which we're doing things. I say we just table it now.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. When I walked around the pool, I didn't really notice painting and stucco, but I noticed dirt flower beds.
It looks horrible.
Yeah.
Well, there's no better way to put this, yeah. Stuck with Patty Butter, it's like putting lipstick on a thing. The pool looks horrible in every area. We're gonna throw $20,000 worth of pool, great, beautiful pool furniture at it, which needs to be done, and it's gonna be broken in a week because we got nobody monitoring pool. And then we do a pool house that's bleeding out with no painting, shutters that are broken, landscaping with dirt. So real question is, what do? We don't have money. I don't know.
It's not that you don't have money, it's that we're making big expenditures that are making the cash flow tighter. So it doesn't mean the money won't be there, but it can't all be here in the middle of the year because these projections and the budget are based on 12 months, not 5.
I get it, yeah.
And while I agree that it would be nice to get, very nice equipment or furniture and whatever, I think that that's something that should be put in the budget for next year and not spent now. Cosmetically, painting and the flowers and stuff would be good, but I don't think we need the furniture at this point.
So Kathy, just.
Stay on the topic here, yeah.
But
Oh, I was just there last month.
we're almost last month, last week, we're almost down to standing ovation. There are no seats
There was 20 chairs when we were there a month ago.
there. I don't even know if there's 20 chairs in there. There's definitely not many chairs there, and all the. tables-
Actually, when we counted it last time, there were 15 on the floor and 23 in the closet.
No, that I counted and there was 20 on the deck and I was told there was 23 to be repaired.
Well, I this way, whatever the number is, I can tell you this, the neighborhood is screaming about there being no chairs and there. That's all I'm saying. If you're not wrong on this, there's no seating.
Well, I would like to know where the seating went, because we,
I have
there,
it all.
no, because there had been. The week prior that we were there, there had been a service request that said, there's no chairs at all.
At the food truck event I had last week, I alone shut 3 Chase lounges, now broken that day, into the storage guys. So every day we lose.
And then one more broke yesterday.
Okay, you didn't let me finish.
Sure.
Please let me finish. There was a message out on Appfolio that said there was only 5 or 10 chairs out on the pool deck, that at that point where this resident put it out. We went, when that evening when we were there were over 20 chairs. We sat there and counted them. So somebody obviously went and borrowed chairs or whatever, but there were more than 10 chairs there.
Even if there's, okay, it's not worth the debate, Kathy. What I'm trying to say is even with 25 chairs, there's not enough seating for their neighborhood screening rooms.
But
There's no
keep
lie.
us on target. The pool chairs are separate from the landscaping.
They are.
Relegation. Just trying to-
So at the end of the day, we just don't have the money to spend on the landscaping now. I think the timing is wrong.
Well, and as Tom has said, this is not the time of year to plant right now anyway. Because we're not into the rainy season, and your recommendation is more to do it in August.
But it's my job to notice what's going on in the landscaping and provide, like, I want this to be the crown jewel of all of it. So I'm gonna continue to propose things. And we can walk them as a group on Wednesdays during our meeting, but it's my job to kind of propose things to you guys of what I'd like to do to enhance the environment here at the shop. So again, no skin in the game. We can phase things out, do a little bit here, a little bit there, push it off. It doesn't really matter to me, but I'm gonna continue to evaluate and just provide, I think, solutions to make the pool house what I think it should be eventually, right?
Yeah.
That's the job.
We
So
appreciate it.
We'll do that. Absolutely.
You just wanna go over the change in the days.
Yeah, I sent over a quick email. I'll make this really short because I know we've been here a minute, but I listed the days. So again, Paired Villas, we're gonna stay on Mondays for now. Townhomes, we're gonna serve on Tuesdays. Westlake will be Wednesday mornings. I am temporarily switching out the HOA. I'm gonna do that on Thursdays now. And then Sagewood on Friday. And part of this is I have a crew that's kind of freed up, or is going to be freeing up very quickly due to a contract change. So what I'd like to do is bring a second crew in to help, especially right now with the trimming and stuff that we're trying to do at Sagewood, to try to get that done more quickly and not have to do it kind of this piecemeal as we've been doing it. So once we're through that, I think for the next few weeks, again, I'll just bring that crew in, and wherever we see that we're falling behind or needs help or some extra attention, we can send that crew kind of wherever, Patty and I I talked with Kathy and Sean, wherever we kind of deem that we need a little bit more attention is where we can send that extra crew to do some detail work. So that's my plan. And eventually, once the season shakes out and we get into the rain, we may change that, but for now, that's gonna sit. Let's see what else did I
You
have.
can you had originally had Monday and part of Tuesdays doing the Paired Villas. Have you found that you don't need those extra hours on for the second day?
I have not yet, no, so I don't need the time for the second day. What I've done is just added an extra guy to the crew.
Okay,
So instead of 4, it's a 5-man crew. And again, that second, having that help, if we, for some reason, are trimming and he doesn't finish up a certain area, that's why I'm creating that buffer on Fridays right now, just to kind of clean up anything that we don't get through during the regular service. The schedule, right? We get rained out in the afternoon, like we're gonna start getting, we might need that extra day. So I'm just kind of building in and pushing to make sure we get everything done in 2 weeks as possible.
great. Thank you.
So the pool, what we're gonna do on the pool, we're gonna start another round of palm pruning. I guess you guys probably seen that. I walked it today. They're starting to come down again. So we're gonna do another round of that. If anything my guys can reach from the ground or from a ladder or open to get. I think last time we were able to get everything in the pool. So we'll do that probably, I think, once a month is what I'm trying to do. Moving forward, we are going to swap out the flowers in the 4 pots in the pool. And I had made a note that I would like to see if Dale can check this little, I think they're called Mac that are in each one. Some of those flowers are better than others, but they're definitely ready to be swapped out. There's 4 small planters. I'll compare it to something Sunrise will do. I'm gonna build for that. We'll just take care of it. So we'll do that every 3 to 4 times a year as needed. right now. And right now, I guess, according to Neil, currently we're working on a round of, spraying all the plant beds and hard surfaces for weeds, another round. They're continuing to make prune, passes. The jasmine is fun to keep up with, that grows pretty crazy throughout the community.
Fun is the
If
word.
I had my way, I'd burn it all, but we're gonna keep it. And then they're using a product, I mean, Gail probably knows a little bit about it, it's called Spectacle G. I kind of a little quick overview, but it's a slow release, it's a pre-emergent that we put down on beds. And it basically creates a shield where birds can't come up through. Greatly reduces the amount of hand pulling you can do and of the overall appearance of the property. Again, not something I charge you for, it just allows my guys with the rainy season coming up. Just to keep up with things better and keep everything more beautiful all the time. So anytime the soil is disturbed, we pull a shrub, it breaks the barrier, we'll come back in and spot treat it. So when we actually put that that pre-emergent down, I'll make sure that we know if I've had it a week or two ahead so she can, so anybody asks what they're putting down on the ground, I can provide the SPS sheet and all the information from my license guy. I think that's most of it. The new contract has been signed. We're doing the Westlake Swale now with Cushman Norris for the contract. Just so you guys know that. I know Sean had a couple questions about my guys, whether they were doing it or not. 3 weeks, I was present this time and they're absolutely doing it.
That's fantastic.
Could be good to go. Yes, ma'am.
One of the things we discussed on Wednesday was I wanted to share with the board was the ongoing proposals that Sunrise was only going to be charging us for the plant materials and not the labor on an ongoing basis now. So that will be saving us a significant amount of money.
Thank you, Tom.
I think it's like, I'm not talking necessarily about projects like renovating the pool, but if someone puts in work order to have a single bed scrub. Like it's, we'll provide the layer that you got covered the plant area. I think it's kind of a partnership with Sunrise. I am well aware that you call some of the damage, so I want to like you can do that with the help of some stuff.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Because you're on site. It's a small, quick fix. We pay for the material. and stuff.
The only other thing new this month is we started taking care of some of the trashes. Right now, we check every day. My guys are saying they're only changing it 3 times a week. It's 2 days a week. They're seeing it. I guess they're right here changing it. What's happening? Do you want us? I just wanted to confirm you want us to go and do safety as well.
Yeah.
That's that lane that you see at the walkway. That one right there. Okay, so we'll check that 5 days a week.
Thank you. Okay.
So
And the, oh, sorry. Because you're gonna have a question, I just wanted to talk about the Save the Mulch project.
Oh, yes, I went and walked that today. I sent Patty a picture of the little erosion area we did.
That was that one between the 2 houses.
The special bark.
Yes.
So so I couldn't get the erosion mix that I wanted, so we used the cocoa brown, the shredded mulch, and I kind of talked about what kind of mulch, I think, just in by its nature, it stays better because it's shredded and locked in. But we used a mulch tackifier on it, and we put it in and spray it a couple of coats, and we went over and felt it today, it just no better, it's like hairspray for mulch, it's just very tacky and it's dry, it's not sticky, it doesn't track. But we've had some downpours like we're having now and not a piece of mulch. So there's a little bit of mulch on it, but it's the heavier stuff that is falling down from the mulch into the shrub.
How long does the spray last?
It can be really, it's supposed to last for the season, so it protects the
So
color.
it would remulch next season, freshen up the mulch and we spray.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually this is the product to look at maybe for fish hawk in total. I think the cocoa brown shredded mulch is just a better option. Doesn't move around like little kayaks and canoes in the water, and any of the slopes, we can spray this tackifier on it and it doesn't go. Amazing, so just kind of.
It looks very nice.
And it's no difference in price from that mulch to the one that I've already proposed to match, but there's no difference in price. It's not more expensive to do that, it's just a different option. Good stuff.
So, Tom, I had a question going back to the pool landscaping. You do have irrigation at all these areas, right?
Yes, sir.
So is it possible that we could look at a proposal to put some plants in there, but not all of the plants we need to give us some color and some life and stuff like that? Like you had mentioned pots, we use pots on a lot of stuff, and some of the other problems I worked on. That we just put a plant here or there in the right place would come out during the summer this year and then tide us over to next spring and we come out and do the whole thing.
I think we can absolutely talk through that. It's helpful for me to have, like, I'm here every Wednesday at 10:30 with Patty, like, if we want to get together as a group and go walk the pool with my field manager and I'm happy to, like, discuss options and kind of in person, talk about exactly what we'd like to see, and we're more than happy to do it. I did a normal planting, like what I think wants to fill the bed. I want to see, nice color, but I agreed, and I used some 1 gallon stuff as opposed like, the flax lilies and the blue days, 1 gallon stuff will plant it kind of sparse and let it grow in and fill in, so. I don't think we necessarily overdid it, but yeah, we could probably go a little bit more minimal just to get some basic color in the beds to get something.
It looks so barren, and a few times I've been there, it's like being in a mulch desert, So,
The area, I would absolutely agree. Some of the areas, yes, and then other areas I've seen where they, push chairs in the bed or kids are playing in beds and things like that. But I think, having some good plant material there would be a deterrent. And again, just make it look better for everybody involved.
maybe we'll look at that, and that would help. Some of the problems, the color and the feeling alive there. Maybe drop off a chair or two until next year. So,
Same thing with the zoysia saw that's in there. I sent a proposal for that again. And we've been treating that, and I know the irrigation is, I can't really speak to the path so much, but I know off and on that irrigation has worked. But my guys are saying that's not going to recover. And then again, we may or may not have the same section of that saw. But again, I think that would be one of the higher priority items in that area to look at. Either replacing the sod or just removing the sod, start cutting it out and putting up just a mulch area in there with some small plantings, or like you said, something that's, low maintenance. But again, if we can get this soil, the sod to come irrigate in the rain season, great. Something should be done with it, just brown dead grass right now. The other side looks a lot better, but
So the sod is $1,100.
relatively inexpensive. Like I said, they come and they round it up just to make sure there's no weeds or anything in it. They sod cut it, come in and lay it. It's pretty quick.
Tom, I'm not questioning the work of the materials. I'm wondering how we're paying for it and not doing it now and just getting tabled. At the end of the day, if you can't cut your check, it really doesn't matter how you feel about it. I think it goes without saying, we have to table it.
But we appreciate everything you have done. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna make a motion to table both the full sod and full plant replacement.
I don't agree. Before we do that, we have our master operating budget says we have 306,000, and you're telling me I have 8,000 left. So I want to know what happened to 173,000 and 67,000. I want to know where all that's going before we decide not to maintain the main part of our community.
Okay.
It's just basically the 173,000 is just the next 2 months' expenses. That's all it is.
So what goes into that?
Everything that we spend money on, including the budget for security, for example. That's what we would have to spend if everything was being spent for the next 2 months. Now,
But you
mind
said,
you,
Vince, that's payroll, that's
Electric.
electricity, utilities, that's pool service.
Sure.
Yeah,
173,000.
yes,
2 months.
our budget's $1 million a year, divided by 12, it's 2 months. $83,000, I think it's 89,000 actually a month.
So what you're saying included in that 173,000 is funding for all the items that are budgeted for.
Correct. However,
So-
you've gone through 5 months. And that funding has been spent other places. Just to keep it on track. That's the projected what we would spend if we stayed on track with everything perfectly. But we're not staying on track perfectly.
So where can I look up and see where $173,000 is being spent?
On the budget. The budget tells you exactly where it's being spent.
The budget is a proposed expenditure. I mean, what is actually being spent?
Let's get The
I can
irrigation.
give you a cash flow report, but if you want to look at that, I'm glad to spend some time and show it to you.
I mean, this is gonna be a long meeting tonight, so
I understand.
everybody might as well get comfortable.
Well, let's at least get Tom
And Dan.
That's sure. That's.
And then we can move back to that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll regroup.
Tom, we got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for having.
We're good.
We're good, thank you. Yeah. See you Wednesday. Thank you.
Dale, what do I have here that I'm missing on?
We've got three. Oh, you
I
have
think
one?
you have 3 proposals, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So in Sagewood, we found 3 controllers that were not working, need to be replaced. The replacements are hydro-wise compatible.
What does that mean?
It means that if, when you get your Wi-Fi system set up, they,
Oh.
they could be, you know, so you're not gonna have to replace them again. Decide to go down that road.
Right.
So there's 3 controllers there. I'm sorry, I bring them up with. I know there were some broken sprinklers and pipes, broken sprinklers that were repaired inside Sagewood. The biggest expense is tracking and trying to figure out what's going on with the 7 decoders on the 2-wire system inside Sandpiper Press. Those 6 zones are faulty. You can kind of tell exactly where they are. Because everything's dead. That will help us in finding the valve where hopefully the decoder is. So I don't, at this point, I did a not to exceed because we have no idea what they're on. We may have 6 decoders, some of them that need to be replaced. It could just be a bad wire splice somewhere that just needs to be.
You don't know till you dig in.
What's that?
You don't know till you dig into it.
Right.
Can
exactly.
can I back you up for just one moment?
Yeah.
3 controllers replaced, that's for Sagewood.
That was for Sagewood.
There's a Sagewood resident controller, right?
What's that?
The resident controllers on the outside of the house.
Yes,
Well, let's say visual.
And they're currently outside.
Outside.
those are, those are,
It's being fair to do that. The ones that are there are not functioning, So we need to make this expense. It's kind of not an option. Sagewood has no money.
Sacred has no money. There are 14 grand in the hole right now.
I think they need to go further.
For this. and all of that. See, we decided it's
I
not-
understand.
Then again, if we haven't received a bill from somebody for 9 months, we can also hold that for a month and say, well. we
Absolutely.
can't.
This 98, my feeling is, oh, well, too bad for that. So, but yeah, the 3 controllers in Sacred that are not functioning definitely should be replaced.
I don't think it's option. The sod's gonna die.
Or any of these
Both.
irrigation items in the reserves.
They're not a reserve item.
Sean, you still on?
John,
No, wait.
It's not a reserve item. The irrigation improvements are not, the actual pumps and so forth, the actual equipment for the wells are, but not the timers and the actual heads and infrastructure.
No, I know that, but because we're replacing 3 of them and we're gonna swap them all out in the future anyway, this year. Can we take this cost, the $1,600 from the,
Out of the project.
out of the project budget? Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do exactly that.
Project. But he has-
I make a motion that we approve the 1620 out of the future project.
Let me clarify something for everyone. My overview is to give us an idea what we need to have in the bank to cover the next 2 months. If you spend it a month out, that means we're a month out. If we spend it 2 weeks out, we're 2 weeks out. So you can make it as tight as you want it to make. If you want to spend it, there's money in the bank to cover it. It's not like we're going to write a rubber check. The point is that if all the things come in at the same time, like for example, in April, we spent a whole bunch of extra money that amortizes over the year, like our liability insurance, $23,000. We spent $8,000 out of our regular budget for gym equipment, plus the money we spent for the deposit out of the reserves. Those things all look like big numbers that hit the account for that month because they did. But the reality is that they're amortized over the next 12 months. So that's what makes the cash flow change. Cash flow changes because we've spent a bunch of money that's going to be collected for over the next 10 months. So yes, we can go down to 1 month in projections if you like, and it would give us extra money to spend. But that means if something goes wrong, we got 30 days to recover from it. That's all.
And we really have to keep in mind that hurricane season starts next week. And that is from June to November. We have no idea what this hurricane season is gonna bring. And we need to ensure that there is money to take care of anything that might occur.
And just to raise that question, I mean, one of the whole purposes, what does our contingency fund look like at this point?
We're about 28% spent. So we've got money there. There's money there, and there are things we're planning to do. And to Mark's argument on the pool furniture, I'm going to jump into that because what he's kind of hammering at this point is, we're trying to get that pool up. Well, we have to do it in phases. You can't spend $150,000 on things in one jump. It's just, we don't have the money. So we certainly could do bits. And I can tell you that I can show him where we can get some of this money from, and the board can make the decision on that kind of thing. However, to add, every time we go to a meeting, if we add another $10,000, $12,000 to the budget that we weren't planning on, eventually that contingency is going to be shot before we get to where it's really needed, which is how do we blow budgets? And we're going to blow budgets. We already have on the pool maintenance. We've already blown budgets on a couple things because we changed our landscaping on a couple things this year and we're borrowing money from that contingency to cover some of that. So it's important that we don't overextend ourselves. If we get within the 30-day time, it's hard to recover, especially if we have a bad month where people can't pay us. It gets dicey. So that's why I put 2 months into this. Ultimately, we're spending about $85,000 a month right now. That's what we're averaging. We only take in 86,000 and change or something like that for the most part. So we're running pretty lean, but we're not overextended yet. We could be if we keep going.
So showing the numbers that Jason is showing me, I'm showing May, we spent 46,600 and some change. And we were budgeted, you're correct, for 86,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's,
We got.
So first of all, where is Jason showing you these numbers from? Because there are things that aren't posted in here, like the payroll and so forth so far.
We'll come back to that,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hold on, John, we really gotta get Gail out of here.
We got $4,600 of irrigation on the table here. What do we want to do with that?
Right now, the controllers, I already put the motion on the table. I will spend the 1620 out of the future project budget to get these controllers.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
So that was the controllers.
That was the controllers.
for stage one.
Okay.
Replace 5 non-rotating rotors at dog park, repair cut and drip line 2, $242. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in a motion that we do that.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, we have a
It's the town, the town.
Park Square. Sandpiper Crest.
Okay,
Somebody,
my question about Sandpiper Crest is, since the, how do I want to say it? The building, that's the word I'm looking for, is still is still building. Are they not responsible for some of this stuff?
No. Once they hand it over, it's done.
But they haven't handed it over.
Once
They have.
Yeah, every lot that they sell, their hands on.
once a unit sells,
So if the irrigation's on, the common area between them, they're out there.
So even if so there is no warranty on their work?
No.
I'm serious, I'm asking seriously. Because
Well,
I don't know where I mean, if these are all houses that were built 2 years ago, or ones that are, were built 6 months ago. And if they turn them over to us, 6 months ago, is there no warranty to it?
That's all.
Is there any holdback reserves on this?
No.
Because we had some at Newland on ours. That ultimately lasted, well, some of it's still going, there's still. The reserves that Weekly adhered to when he was building,
Mhm.
that Newland was holding back from them. That haven't been dispersed yet.
No, we don't. The first time we're gonna be eating costs on Park Square's work.
If we get in and we find out that the coders themselves are still under warranty, you won't be charged. I mean, not the full amount, there'll be a little bit of a labor charge, but we won't charge you the full amount to replace it, because we're gonna get it back.
And you're looking for a not to exceed. We don't know what this is gonna be.
That is correct. That's my best ballpark right now. And obviously, I think you guys are gonna go.
Again, my opinion, it's not optional. I mean, if there was a way to go back after Town Square and get the money, then we go that route, but you don't have a choice to not repair
We can put this in the builder deficit
it. You know what?
and builder defect.
I mean, that's the other,
For sure,
right.
yeah. Hands down, I was gonna say, you do that, exactly, ask,
but you're not getting the money up front.
you're not gonna get the money up front, that's the point. We gotta spend it, we gotta show the receipt and the expense and the work.
Exactly.
And that's, I didn't mean to be brought, but I honestly see this as something we have to do.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So, I mean,
There's no.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
No, she said that she asked the same thing about warranty that I did. And she couldn't believe that there wasn't a warranty.
no, we had this last year too. I mean, it's probably the same controllers, I don't even know, same decoders, we already replaced a number of decoders here.
So in other words, they installed garbage.
They not only installed garbage, and we knew this back when even Sunrise irrigation guy was walking around, but they would then go forth and break it by putting all the wood and sitting on top of the trip lines and breaking things that way, and then still didn't matter, we were still eating the cost because they weren't.
Okay.
Anyways, motion to approve or not to exceed 2762.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I think that's it, right?
That's it for now. I will tell you that they found 2 more controllers in Fairfield today.
Mhm.
We're not operating, I haven't had time to.
We just started that one today.
And there was a 1-inch valve. That's not a huge expense. Probably just take it out and gut it.
Quick question for you. Did you get through all the paired buildings? Or did you
Yeah.
get through your round of going through all
I
of them?
think at this point, we would have been through all the period.
Do you know how many you were not able to get to? Whether not home, not available, just couldn't get to the control?
I think the guys will have a list for me, they just haven't gotten it.
Okay,
Good to go.
thanks, Kevin.
Thank you for your patience.
There was a question about the pool. We think that was a valve issue, I guess. Turf on one side are good, the turf on the other side wasn't so good. It looks like the valve was not opening all the way. They think they got it fixed today, just a quick adjustment, but we'll keep monitoring it and make sure that we got the pressure and the coverage to make those heads.
Awesome.
Perfect.
I believe all the reporters that I had, as of when I left the house this afternoon.
And you're gonna put updates in FHRW?
I will update them this, yes, I gotta get the notes from the guys, but yes, I will update stuff and we'll, whatever invoices we have to put proposals that we need to attach to those, we will.
Because she actually scheduled them, I sent it to her this morning, and it already came in and scheduled. By the time I-
Yeah, we think that was just a broken head. Most of what you're going finding is people are complaining about their turf when you go to the control rooms. Except for when they leave, it can't survive. You leave, you might as well just turn them off. But hopefully, the rain's coming, it'll stay, will be good days.
That's the old schedule.
If it is not raining.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go turn it on. I'm gonna put delays on the ACP controllers that you have, so we're not releasing that one. You know, sensors. Draw out. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Real quick, just trying to close out.
Thank you.
Before we get into heavy conversation. Stagewood additional tree removal. Okay, Nature's Coast,
Yes.
inspecting. There's another tree that apparently is in worse shape than many others.
Yes.
4,500 to remove this tree. The question is, do we find the money to remove this tree, she could. Remove this tree in lieu of another one on her credit to remove, and we could just wait.
Right, so there's two proposals for $4,500 in there, correct? Or is it just
There's two
one?
separate.
Two
No,
separate.
there's another one.
Where's the other?
Yeah, there's two. in here.
Actually, I printed it. She just sent it today. So that's for the tree trimming put out. That's that's for the mixer.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what the advance was.
So this is the third tree. We just got approval to remove all three of them. This one is,
Right, I saw third tree, but I didn't see.
It said, yeah, it says the third tree.
this one is
Not secure.
more dangerous, so she would prefer taking out all three if she can, if not. This one plus the one that was termite removal instead of hit by light. Take out two trees right now and then wait until after the hurricane season.
Well, did we not approve? Oh, we approved two.
Mhm.
And this one is in addition to the two that we had already approved, and what was the total for those two that we had? Approved?
And that's 45.
I don't know, I'm asking you.
It's like 3 months ago, so I don't remember off the top of my head, but close to 9,000.
And this new proposal for 4,500, this is a trim all.
Yeah, remove additional third dangerous oak. So I'm approving, we
So,
must have
okay,
approved
so
two.
there's three trees.
Mhm.
We've approved $9,000
for the tree.
approximately for
Mhm.
two. But if this third one is more dangerous than the first two that we've approved,
Mhm.
if I'm understanding you correctly. So we could slide this third one in and not do one of the previous ones
For right now.
for right now.
Mhm.
That's already been budgeted.
That's already been budgeted and approved.
Allocated.
And the budget includes $20,000 for tree removal for this year. Both numbers are still within budget, if you want to call it that.
We already allocated the 9,000.
Right, yeah, 9,000 is spent, so we have basically 11,000 left to spend.
Right, but the point being is that the 9,000 has not been billed yet.
Correct.
So we could slide this $4,500 one in for one of this 9,000 and do this third tree in lieu of one of the two that we've already approved and postpone doing one of those that are not as dangerous as the third one.
Correct.
So swap out the tree, basically.
Exactly. So, and she said, this one she prioritizing the three trees, is this one
And then the one that's full of termites.
and the one that's full of termites.
Not the lightning strip one.
Okay, so I make a motion that we
You can-
reallocate. Well,
Do you need to make a
do we need to make a motion or do we can't, should we do that just to ensure that?
Okay,
So I move that we reallocate trees and do the third tree in lieu of one of the other ones, so that we're only doing the two, the most dangerous one and the termite eating one for the 9,000.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, real quickly, the second one that you just came through, Patty. So this is to trim $4,500 to trim the trees and streets.
Yes.
These residents. Is this,
No, this is Fred Villas.
well, this is just
So
me.
it's- yes.
That's that portion that,
Yeah.
that we are responsible for, correct?
Yes.
so, okay, I just couldn't figure out where it was. So that's. Which one is it?
And the map.
I mean, I got the map, but I couldn't read anything. Can't see much today.
That was all these and here, up and down the street. Showing here too. It's like I could get the highlighter.
I don't know where it went.
Eyebrows are down.
I know you did, but I don't know where it went to.
Would you show her this one?
You need this.
You want to see where it is?
She kept it.
You didn't email and say disregard.
No, she said that she was gonna print it off. So I will print it off. Here we go.
While you look, I'm gonna talk about the next one. Sagewood pressure washing, I'm guessing we're tabling.
Yeah,
I think we have no choice.
we don't have a choice. I think it needs to be tabled.
While we're still looking, I make a motion to table, Sagewood pressure washing.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. While you all talk about one of the other things before we get into big discussion here, lake house rental agreements and rules and rates for all amenities. I don't know if you all had the opportunity to kind of take a look at that.
Yes,
Any major changes we want to see there?
Well, it's a recurring disagreement I have, that you can rent this for X, or you can rent all of this for X. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. I know the logic behind you want people to use it,
I
but
think we removed the all of this though, right? It's just this rental, right?
It's this, or you could add the fire pit if you wanted to.
and the player and the.
No, the game room now is separate now.
Is it?
If it's not, it was meant to be pulled out.
Yeah.
Sound, it's just still.
Yes,
Oh, is it
three
still-
available to A is 150, B is everything. to include my front yard, and that's 100. And C, it's the fire pit only, it's $60. So,
But my thought is to at least remove the game room, but you're
so,
saying that.
so make A is the play clubhouse only, and then C is the fire pit. I guess my point is. By making, someone just says, well, I'm gonna rent all three of them.
Mhm.
And if I use them, I use them, if I don't, I don't, but they're now excluded from the members.
Game.
Sure.
So I think if they're going to expand, then I would say there has to be some incremental cost. To take that away from being able to be used as a member. That's my thought.
I would agree with you, except for the fact that we don't charge
We don't charge
for
for.
the fire.
For the fire pit at all.
The game room has to be full of guards. We just don't have a system in place to negotiate who's rented it, who's here. It's just fair play.
Right.
But the fireplace, we don't charge for it. We don't make money on it. We only have the deposit there, so we get the key back.
Right, okay. So. But then, but if somebody walked up, they could sit down with that, or is someone gonna say, hey, I rented that spot, I rented the key, so therefore. That's my little area.
Right now, when people ask me if they're renting, I tell them that that is not private. Outside is not private,
Okay.
is what
So
I
they
kind of
turn- Right, exactly.
tell
Okay.
them.
Then I'm all
You
right.
know, that people can walk up and, you know,
Yeah.
sit down and stuff like that. This area that you're renting is gonna be the
Okay,
private part
I'm
of
all,
it.
then I'm all.
The only other thing, okay, we'll do that for sure, I think. Well, the only other thing, our rental fee is $150. Do we want to do anything to add cleaning, and do we want to increase that price? There's discussions of both.
I believe it'll yield more money if you want to raise it. Basically, 150 is a pretty easy rate. If you went to 200, it's not a huge hike, but it certainly does help with the social budget and everything else that we use that money for.
You beat me to the punch. Yeah, I would say 200, I think, is the right number for that. And I think we just leave off cleaning fee because we just don't know, right?
I have
I'll
one-
revise that later. What
I have one company and met up with the appliance price that's supposed to come and give me a price.
to be a price? And that price was for just cleaning events
Just to,
or to replace Janpro?
or to replace it.
That's not to replace Janpro, that's
No,
I think that's just.
Just to come.
just to come in. Okay.
In the.
Those are some residents, weren't they? Wasn't there a resident that was gonna,
I
Well,
was trying, somebody lived over in the apartments, but I didn't get back from them.
So if you're okay, I would put in a motion that we remove the game room. Make the price 200 for rental, and we'll revisit cleaning fee.
I mean, we can give the option to, sorry, to interrupt. We can give the option to the resident if they want to pay the cleaning fee. If they don't want to clean. Prior to, and then just making them aware that if they don't clean, they're gonna get.
Well, you do the opposite, you add the cleaning fee and the deposit, and
Yeah.
if it's clean, they get it back.
They get the whole thing. Is that right?
Other than just how do you refund if you take the money already, right?
Yeah.
Check in hand, right, that's what we've been,
Right,
write a check for deposit, we rip it off.
right, okay, that's what you're
But then
saying.
we're paying, out of the 200, we're paying the, whatever the cleaning fee is.
Well, no, the
No.
deposit is, what's the deposit right now?
200.
200. So right now there's a $200 deposit. You write two checks, you write a check for, in this case, one for $200 that we actually cash right away, one for $200 that we hold on to for deposit.
And then they come back, but then we have to schedule the cleaning person.
If,
That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying
No,
to.
but you don't want to wait to find out on
Right.
Monday morning that
that's
it's,
a good point.
right? So I mean, I think then it's just a cleaning.
A cleaning fee.
Yeah, it's a cleaning fee. You know,
Right,
it's
yeah.
$50 and that's whatever it is. I mean,
They're close to the 60.
65. Huh? I don't.
And protein.
You know, we can fix that.
That's what they said.
You know, you could do a 200, you could do $150 deposit. $200 rental fee, and upon the room being clean, you get $100 of the deposit back. Something of the sort, right?
Then they just would have to write a different check.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't ring from that.
So, yeah. Brain can hurt, but
Okay,
so,
let's keep it simple. Let's make it the $200 now.
and we'll revisit it,
We'll revisit how to recess the cleaning once we have
right, then the cleaning, then,
So $200 for the clubhouse only,
$200 for the clubhouse.
and we're not doing option B that has the lake house,
Yeah,
the
option B
fire
goes
pit.
away.
This is totally going away.
So,
Then option C becomes option B, which is you can rent the fire pit, right? Or
Yeah.
is that going away completely too?
no,
You can add the fire pit on if you want to, like during the summertime, nobody wants to add it on, you
Yeah.
know, they just. Tell me they just want the game room.
Right, and then they just turn around and say, okay, it's $60 deposit because you've got to give the key, and you don't give us the key back, you don't get your $60.
So have we been collecting an extra deposit on rental? No, right? Just.
Not for the fire pit, not unless it's just the fire pit that they want.
Yeah, no, I don't think we need to collect the double.
Right, it comes out of that $60. As long as it's explained to them that anything that you're giving, the keys don't come back.
Right,
It comes
I
out.
keep your money if you don't give it back.
All right, that was my homework. And the other question is, how do we ensure low capacity?
I don't know.
Because it says it will be strictly enforced, but how do we enforce it if we don't?
Back it up, it all comes to that, we don't have any, if we had roaming security, we could enforce that, we don't have anyone here in enforcement. But I agree with you, it's a great point.
Yeah, and then what's our liability?
What's our liability?
It goes over. Because then it says, well, you're using it at your liability, but in fact, it's not. I don't think that's the case. The hat check person is not responsible.
It's a good question with a good problem.
Okay, got it.
All right, motion to do that.
Do that. I know to do
Second.
that.
But no, he mentioned, you're
I seconded,
second.
triple.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Yeah, let's move forward. It's easy enough to adjust. It goes down.
Motion carries. Okay, I think that's it. I had Mark patio. Money. From the Bank of the North.
Mark, if you want to hear me out for a second on your proposal, I do have a recommendation. I think I told you that in an email previously. We have some money in budget already funded for pool furnishings equipment. And I'm a replacement in the reserve study. It's a new line item that wasn't separated out, it was put in general before. So it's a new component that he put in here. He's got a $36,000 and change allotment for the expense of replacing it with a useful life of 10 years. At 10 years, that life was supposed to expire 2 years from now, and then it would be starting a refund for a replacement. So the 6560 that's in there, that's funded for this year, could be placed towards early. It's not a problem. In the reserve itself, after reconciling the reserve this year, there was a surplus of $8,000 over and above what the starting amounts were supposed to be for the reserve due to an associate error that was made. So that money is not allocated to anything. Okay, so that money could be used for this purpose if we needed to. So that gets us at about 13 and change, give or take a touch of it, 14,560 or something like that. You're looking at a $9,000 variance in what's going on. There's room in contingency to spend the 9,000. Now, to make a explanation a little easier for you, we've averaged $72,000 a month. If you do the total expenses, we spent 160 some odd $1,000 in April and about $72,000 a month. We actually budgeted $89,000 in expenses. The reason we're not spending all of it is because contingency and security and some things that are going to be spent before the end of the year. So that money is still in the bank, so to speak. When I give you these projections, it's based on 100% expenses. Mind you, that we're sitting on the other money waiting for it to spend it because we don't spend it all at the same time. There's room to take that money out of contingency at the moment if we wanted to, if the board decided to. It would just shorten our projection for next month. And then the following month, it would probably catch up a little bit and then be cleared by the third month. So I'm recommending, because I'm an advocate of replacing the furniture at this point, I really am. I think that we should take those funds from the reserve that we have, take the rest from our contingency, and know that we've already spent about 33% of our contingency in the fifth month, which is par for course, actually.
So can I ask a question on this? So are we planning on doing the reslinging and the purchase? So it'd just be the purchase. So that's, my memory serves me correct, was about $20,000, right?
22,540.79.
Yeah, that was the email, but then this one says 19,495. So is it because we increased the numbers?
Would you make the change, Mark?
I did, so.
I know, it was in my email. I didn't print that out because. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So the first email, the first quote I got was for the bare minimum, the $20-some thousand. To replace what we have right now would be roughly $32,000. Okay.
What replacement cost, you mean?
I'm sorry, let's look here real quick here. 10. Yeah, 23,000 is the correct number. That is correct.
22,540.
Yeah, thereabouts, yeah, because you take out the 800.
So that's total, right? That gives us 30 plus the tables, plus the chairs, plus the umbrellas.
Yeah.
Right?
So why do we need umbrellas? I mean,
Since no one closes them.
no one closes them, so
My wife, blood pressure goes up about that.
I think we should
Sorry, that's-
eliminate the umbrellas. If people want an umbrella, bring it from home.
I'm sorry, Kathy, I can't entertain this.
Well.
My mind's gonna explode. You own a pool, have a pool. Pool's coming from you.
I have a pool. I also have an umbrella in my pool. So
So the HOA has a pool and we have umbrellas.
no, the HOA is not gonna be that liable for the pool, the umbrella being left open if it blows away and hits some kid in the park.
So here's what we do. We need to put a lock on the umbrella so that you swipe it open with your pad. And then if you don't, it gets damaged, you get charged for your account.
I like it.
That'll make us fun.
I could probably make that happen.
I know you could. It scares me. So my point is, so it's $22,540 is
That
Yes,
gives us 30 chase lounges.
everything up there, 10, 40 and 10, right?
Yeah, so are you looking at the estimate?
Yeah.
Okay, you're looking at
Email.
the email I sent.
I'm
right?
Yes,
looking at your email.
So
So it just increases the number of Jay's lounges from 20 to 30.
Yeah.
The tables remain the same,
Mhm.
right? And then, and the chairs,
Right, so each table
the table set had,
comes with 4 chairs.
so it just adds 10 more Jay's lounges.
Right.
And brings us into the 22 and change. So if we have 13,500, 14,000. If doing the
Roughly.
math,
You're right, yeah, roughly, yep.
14,000 plus or minus. So we really only have to come up with $8,000 more. We don't need to come up to $33,000. Right? So,
Yeah, so I'm saying about $9,000.
right.
9,000, yeah.
There's a hand in the back from.
I'm sorry, not you. A little bit better.
Okay. Here now. Before we came over, we did the math for the police contract. Worst case scenario, we were looking at $900,000 for the full, like say, winter, over 6 months in.
Correct.
But there's $100,000 budget.
Correct. Yeah. So we already know there's 50,000. Yeah.
I agree, there's $50,000 allocated and they're just sitting around that can't possibly spend.
That's my point. That's why I think we need to do the chairs. And probably do the landscaping.
I have no
Take
problem
Take a
with
deep breath
chairs.
there.
Tell me about your problem, Kathy.
I have problems with umbrellas and stands.
Mhm.
And why tables? There were tables there when we were did our walk.
So our tables are dilapidated and broken and they splinter.
Old
The-
Miss Bacon.
The chairs, like a friend of mine had his leg sliced open from one of our chairs when it collapsed on him. A lady at the pool just this week posted a picture on Facebook saying that the chairs are telling her to lose weight because she fell right through the sun degraded.
Kathy, do you have the table by your pool side?
Yes, I
Can
do.
we swap it out? We have really
No.
nice ones. We just want to switch.
No, because I have bars.
So, and I know, so this, a little bit, let me explain why I picked this company and these chairs and not just rebuying the stuff that we have. This material is called polywood. You're familiar with this. You are familiar with this. Okay, anyone that knows outdoor furniture is familiar with this. The stuff comes with for residential use, a 25-year warranty. I was talking with the manufacturer, we fall somewhere in a gray area there, so we'll have to work out the details of what our warranty would be, but at a minimum, it would be 3 years.
Cover what?
Everything. The chair breaks, they replace it.
Projected useful life of all the furniture, no matter what it is 10 years. So to give you an idea.
So
So,
I guess I'm almost ready to make a motion. I understand, but you have to have umbrellas, Because then someone's gonna get skin cancer and sue us because they didn't have umbrellas at the.
No, that's
So we don't
their
have to be-
problem because they can put sunblock on or bring their own umbrella or their hat.
the umbrellas too are a very small portion of this expenditure. It's only $1,300 for 10 umbrellas.
Yeah.
These are commercial grade umbrellas. These are not the ones that you buy at Panama Jack's down at the beach. Or like the Wave store where you buy an umbrella and it gets blown away in the wind. And they come with 77-pound bases.
And who's going to be responsible to close them every night?
That does,
So we have a sign on our Encore that says, when you get up, close the umbrella.
we could have a person sitting next to every table here.
Yeah.
No, it goes.
They just don't get jobs, trust me. But the point is this, it's a much bigger problem. I think you're completely wrong about the umbrellas and bases. I think I made that very clear. We need all that. That's not the problem. The problem is we order this furniture today, it comes in 3 weeks. Who's monitoring it from being broken like the past rack? It didn't just break me. It broke because we have nobody monitoring. I want it. I think it's great. I think we need it.
But it's hard to break this stuff, not as opposed to a swing chair.
It is, it's much harder than what we have now, for sure. Yeah.
No, but anything can be broken, but at
But
least it's going to be.
And when it breaks,
resilient.
the local sales rep that we buy it from will replace it.
Oh, fair enough. Umbrellas too.
Yes.
What about the fabric for the umbrellas?
It's umbrella, isn't it?
Can't really answer that question.
It's umbrella, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's umbrella fabric. I looked at it when you sent the quote. So it's good stuff.
John, I'm sorry, I know you're trying to say.
I don't think we're all gonna come to the same point. One of the things is, we don't have to be unanimous on all this stuff.
No, absolutely.
You know,
No,
if Kathy feels bad about the umbrellas, she doesn't have to pass this because of the umbrellas. We still have 6 more people here that
correct. It's just
we
collegial.
want her
discussion.
to, we want to take care of her, but if she's entrenched, then the rest of us are.
But, you know, I mean, so
I need to
I
get
just,
home at some time.
you know, and the school's getting out tomorrow,
Yeah,
right? So, I mean,
this is all fast.
we want to get this as,
We're hoping to have another special security meeting in 2 weeks just to figure out what we're doing.
but
Yeah, no,
what we
yeah.
we're certainly not going to spend, even if we execute, we're not going to spend $100,000 on security this year.
Not this year.
So we're actually not paying down. What?
$8,300 a month to this date.
Well, no, there's a fair point. I stand corrected. We should not move the money out of the security funding line because that's what we said we were putting towards.
And until the time that we've spent it and it's left. Exactly. Yeah.
Or, you know, or we don't have enough time. But that can become our backup for the,
So it's our contingency for our contingency.
then I think that's legit. Right?
I think it is too.
I mean, you know, I mean. That's how I look at it, you know, that we should not take the money out of security because we put it in for the security. We had it there for that reason, so we should keep it there as much as possible. A hurricane hits and we have other requirements, then we have to regroup and rethink our way through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That
Thank
staying
you.
with the spirit of what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Okay, I got that telepathic message.
We were looking to pull a $9,000 delta out of contingency.
Correct. Knowing that we have an emergency reserve somewhere down the road.
Great.
Because we just can't execute it.
I would make a recommendation, we pass this, and buy all this stuff, that we come up with a way of keeping. Having, whether it's a committee or something to oversee the pool area down there and all the maintenance stuff that gets done. Because it's a pretty significant amount of work and time and monitoring and stuff. You know, looking at, even though these things are fully warranted, you know, there will come a time where we need to have money in there and we need to know how to get it fixed, and there ought to be a timetable. If it breaks, you get it back in 2 weeks, or you send it off to get it fixed in 3 weeks or something, because just throwing it in the back is not doing any good, you know.
I agree with that.
So we need, it's a whole thing, not just buying.
I mean,
And may I also point out, we haven't even got to the point, the quote for the painting that we want to do to the gym that is supposed to go in next week.
Yes. The
Well,
painting for the gym was what, 2,000?
Yeah. It's not right.
it
It was pizza and beer.
it's pizza and beer that we're all going to participate in.
Yeah, that's what I think it should be, and I still stick to that, because
Are you actually gonna do it? It's kind of like digging in trench. Yeah.
I never said I don't use a paintbrush, I don't use a shovel.
Not to rush you guys along here, but can we make a motion on this particular item? And if that's the way we want to go, I can certainly shed some light on the painting subject right afterwards.
Sure, okay, I make a motion to purchase patio furniture. I'll take 9,000 out of contingency to afford it.
second.
So what's the not to exceed amount? Is it this 23,340.79?
Yes, let's go with that.
Just round up to 24,000 to make it easy.
Not to exceed
Oh,
20.
how about round down?
You could, but then you wouldn't have enough money.
Oh, shucks, then we won't get an umbrella.
John, so you that seconded?
I get the 22,540.
All those in favor?
I will make it as cheap as possible.
Aye.
I'm dealing with the big. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Any not, any opposed?
Yes,
Okay,
I don't count. I'm sorry.
But no,
Motion
Oh,
carried.
you're not voting No, you didn't even know. we didn't vote.
I'm not opposed. I'm actually thinking it's a high visibility item that makes it look like what they're spending in the increases were for something. That's exactly why I feel about it.
I agree.
It's also a high use thing over the summer. That's kind of.
Well, Sean, what's your idea on paint? I just walked over there right before the meeting. It's not that bad over there. There's, the inside of the gym needs to be painted. The whole outside of the washrooms are not that bad. We have one bead seam that's bad. This is something Jeremy should be able to fix.
Are we talking about?
Sorry, I'm talking about the gym, since that's coming up next week.
Okay, so the gym exterior and interior are fully funded to paint.
the pool?
So basically on the reserve, we can spend 69.48 to paint the interior and 3,764 to paint the exterior.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
We have 69.48 already funded. It's already we're not funding it this year. It's already funded. When we started the year, it was funded to paint the interior of the gym.
So it's not coming out of this.
Not out of reserve, not out of budget. It's coming out of reserve. I mean, it's coming out of reserve, but not out of our contingency.
Right.
Okay.
So you said, I'm sorry, Sean, you said it at one more time, 69.50 to paint?
69.48.
For painting. Painting the gym. Okay,
That's a pretty good sum. I think that's more than enough to have someone paint it. So what, do we have a quote on that? I didn't see it if we did.
Okay.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
understand,
that-
we got all this, L&T Brothers, who doesn't have any money on any of them, and post a description about what they're doing, what they're
On
paying.
the last
Yeah,
page.
I saw that actually. That's hence the question.
Yeah, on the last page is,
10,200 plus.
but that's
1,800
the
plus
pool
plus
house. Where's the one?
Pool house, pool deck, pool deck, pool deck.
Yeah, there wasn't one.
They didn't do the gym.
Not the last set.
Was that on your email?
Yes.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Sure, hold on, come on.
Hmm. All right. So
So
the
who's-
email says the painting the gym, kids' room. And the entryway to the gym, the walls and the floorboard would be $19.95. If they
That's-
want to include.
It
if
seems,
they-
yeah, it seems reasonable even with the bathrooms added to it.
The bathrooms, to add the bathrooms would cost $23.95.
That's total.
That's what it says.
It's well within the reserve amounts that we have.
Yeah,
To paint the two offices, is that your area over there, lady?
So,
Is $9.95. And to paint the exterior of the pool house is $649.95.
But that's just.
Yeah, that's,
So that $10,000 quote is all those items.
Yes.
yes,
Okay, that's great, because all of that's covered within our reserves that are already funded.
the 10,000, that included, that didn't include the ceiling of the pool wall.
so the
No, that is-
10,200 is to wash, prep, and paint the pool house.
The pool house is 10,200.
Okay, so the pool house, the exterior of the pool house, we have 6,080 funded for it. It's fully funded. It says it has 1 year useful life, which means we're supposed to be doing it this year anyway. So, but it's not 10,000. So you've got a variant there. However, it doesn't look like you're going to be blowing the paint budget. And mind you, the component is paint. It's not the, it's not individually. He just has it broken down into each element for us. So If you're not gonna spend the money from the fitness center, it's only gonna cost $2,300 to do that. There seems to be enough money to fund it.
Did we not pull money from the fitness, we pulled money from some paint line item in the reserve to pay for the fitness equipment?
No, we didn't. We talked about painting it and anticipated doing what we're actually talking about doing now. We pulled money from the fitness equipment only, 77,500, and the balance is coming from excess wages left over from JR.
Okay, so,
So we could afford all the paint,
With the two different companies.
so two different companies.
It does look like that, yeah. I mean, it's with $2,000 to spare, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a motion to do all that.
And then we can buy more umbrellas.
Do all that. Let's just do all that.
please,
Next year,
let's.
next year.
You think we're being better than that?
I'm hoping so. So Patty, I do have a question on the pool paint.
Yes.
Does the pool house? Not that I'm too concerned about that, but are they gonna paint the pergolas?
You have that option?
Was it?
Yes.
That's the last
There goes my $2,000.
$1,500 to the pergola.
Well, That's okay. Honestly, can we get Jeremy to paint the pergola?
The burger is perfect.
Probably. I would rather do that. Just have him grab a match and paint those up.
Okay,
The only solution we don't have is for the shutter, but that's another day and then.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna be
all right.
another budget.
Yeah, that's gonna be something different, but I think maybe I've got a solution that might be inexpensive or at least some sweat equity even.
Mhm.
So we are.
I know your sweat equity causes me pain.
So don't sweat.
So we still, what about the $995 to paint the two offices that are here?
Office is a different, not a separate item in here, but there is for the lake house interior painting and the lake house exterior painting that, which includes the offices. We have $88,071 already funded for interior and exterior, 9,270. Those are separate items from what we discussed earlier.
I have a suggestion. Instead of spending another $900 on that, it's not that bad now. It needs some touch up with it.
And some artwork.
And some artwork. Artwork. Can
I'd
you
like to-
call them and squeeze them? It's the same paint. We
Right.
want them to touch up the three walls in there. That's it. They don't need to repaint the whole thing, touch up the walls.
All right, I make a motion that we accept the quote from Fine Line Painting to paint the gym, the kids' playroom, the entryway, and the two bathrooms for $2,395.
Second.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Any opposed? Motion carried. Would you want to do the pool one?
sure.
You did so good on.
You said these are great. And you're holding it. Only if she gets it. We're gonna get her in there. Don't worry. Come on.
I move to accept the L&T Brothers painting proposal. Now, are we just gonna paint? We're not gonna do any of this pressure washing
Oh,
or
God.
clear sealing?
It's the full time we have to do.
Oh. No,
It's-
this is, the 10,200 only is wash, prep, and paint the pool out. It is not pressure wash the pool deck or apply clear sealer.
No, we don't need the pool deck. So
Okay.
it's $10,000. My understanding is they're gonna caulk and fix all the stucco cracks. in the
Yes.
pool house, and I'm assuming Patty also the landscaping walls.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're doing the masonry surfaces.
Yeah.
And prep and crack and all that stuff.
Now, how much did they want for the ceiling on the pool deck?
This, they want $2,400
On top of the 10.
on, that's sealing the stone tops on the pool deck,
I don't think that needs it.
okay?
You could just have someone guys go around with weed killer on the deck, so we have some sprouting. That's fine.
Well, I have a guy. Big and little. Really responsible. They, I like that thing they could do.
Never?
Okay, I move that we accept L&T Brothers proposal to wash, paint, and prep the pool house for $10,200.
I'll second. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Please sit up, Jeremy, with the priority list. He needs to check the boards on the top of the priority list.
Yeah, I went looking for them and I couldn't find it to find it out. So
If you just tap it with a hammer, you're not gonna crack it. You're not gonna miss it. I grabbed one, off the ladder, it's a nightmare. I know we didn't get through everything. but
yes, we did.
I think so.
What didn't we get?
We still have landscaping, but
Can we plant some flowers? Do we have any money?
No,
The $8,000 that we didn't spend in operating funds, can we plant some flowers? at the
No.
pool?
that's the,
Or use that for furniture?
you wanted that for your
Really
furniture?
not, yeah, we're gonna be spending for furniture, that 9,000 out of contingency, so we've spent this month, we've spent what we can.
let's choose our battles wise.
yeah.
Oh, I bet I could find 1,550 right here. And you could have it for plants.
I think,
You know, when we get that umbrella in the first.
yeah, talking to
Sean, will you do me a favor?
trying to just a minimum.
Sean,
So
there.
Right.
Hey, Sean, will you do me a favor? The not to exceed 24K for the pool furniture, will you send the board an email and let us know where that money's coming from, each line item?
It's only 2 line items, but yeah,
Okay, which ones is it again?
it's coming from from the actual funding in the reserve for pool furniture.
Okay. So I'm looking at the funding, and I'm sorry to backtrack, everybody, I apologize. The pool furniture I saw was $37,000.
If it's value, not what's funded.
Okay, so it's funded at 32.8.
No, it's not funded at all. Look at the first column in 2023. You're not reading the reserve study correctly.
Okay.
So- The first column is the value, the replacement value at current, when he did the assessment. That's the current replacement value, okay? So when you look at this, you're looking at what he thinks it'll cost to replace it. He thinks it has a 5-year useful life left, okay? On that. And so the first year we're gonna fund it is this 6560 is actually this year. That's the first year we're gonna fund it. So that's all the money we had to set it. So go 4 columns over, you'll see the 6560 that's funding. There's 0 funding in the column next to it. We have not funded it at all.
32,800 divided by 5 is 60. Okay, 60.
That's what we have.
Okay, that's what we have in the reserve to pay for furniture.
So where's the
I
other
get it.
7,000 come from?
The 8,000 was the excess that he
The
said.
surplus after reconciling the amounts that we started with compared to what was physically in the bank. It's basically it's not coming from any budget. It's just basically excess money that we had in the reserve that's not part of the funding. So we're actually allocating $8,000 in reserve to this, and then the balance is coming from contingency. So there's only 2 items it's coming from.
6560 from
From
the
the reserve, from the reserve pool furniture item, right?
Okay.
8,000 from surplus reserve, and the
Okay,
balance is coming from contingency, regular budget.
okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
So no flowers.
Well, what's beautiful is that this remaining life is 5 years, right? Or the reserve study estimates it at 8 years. But by buying high quality stuff, we should get 20 years out of it.
Yeah, but what it's also saying is it expected that it was good for another 5 years before we spent money. So we're spending
Right.
5 years early.
Warranted for 3.
We're spending it 5 years early is what it's saying.
I agree, it's a problem. We should make note of this and maybe reflect a reserve study for future years
I'm gonna get a few more chairs in the
next one.
for the same price. No, for the same price. The same price.
Flowers.
I'm all for Chotskys. If you can throw something in, that's all great.
Some plants out there. My wife's got a great thumb. She's out there planting stuff today. I know there's a number of other people around.
Okay. I think that's it.
I
I know
do
we
have,
bounced all over the place, but
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
Hmm.
The new, website that you, became active, that you put up.
Mhm.
Is it possible to have that website so that it can show upcoming events or put pictures of, things like the one that we just had on Friday?
Yep.
So
it's still
kind of make social announcements and.
totally possible, very easy to do. The social committee is working on trying to get someone to do a newsletter on this stuff. At least quarterly. And the idea is, once we get that, we're gonna also dedicate a page on the website.
Okay,
But-
cool.
Until I have someone dedicated, not me, but just the committee in general, someone dedicated to put together this and visit the events and be in charge of the photos and the content. Good deal.
They're working on it.
Okay.
Most
Because
of
I-
it talking right now.
Well, no, I think that it's very
But
important
the
that
problem is we need the person is the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I am not raising my hand for that.
I know, and I'm not. I'm saying I'll put up the page, I'll help get the information out there, I'll do the mailing on it, that's great. Yeah, I'm not the person either. I need someone that wants to type up the copy, you need someone that wants to talk to all the board members. Talk to Patty, find out what we're doing, and actually develop a worthy newsletter. I don't know, we haven't gotten there yet, it's gonna be a little bit,
Okay, I'm just,
but yeah, I'd love to.
I would really like to see that because there's so much positive information that we could provide to our homeowners on your
Yeah,
website.
But they don't see it.
That they don't see.
My daughter does have a digital arts background.
You what?
My daughter does have a digital arts background, so has built her own webpage and has some potential time to help over the summer.
And that would be good.
After she-
have one that right beside, I have it at the end with the chairman of the committee, so I'll kind of do it.
Our problem is content curation. We need someone that just wants to do content curation. Take the photos, talk to the people, draft up copy, put it to proof.
Of course, she is gonna be gone overseas for 3 weeks of the summer.
But I'm just saying, digital graphic, she probably doesn't want to do content.
So Patty, you said something earlier about the stuffer and that got passed by, what did you mean?
Because we're gonna have to mail out the ARC guidelines and. ARC and.
Yeah, so we'll real quickly touch on that. The ARC needs to go out sometime soon. I know Mark's working on finishing it up, and it's gonna get out to us very shortly for the final review. All said and done, we need to send out 1,238 letters. It'd be nice to be able to have that automatically stopped and sealed. We've never done a mailing that large yet, and I don't know, this is really you two. Don't let me sell you.
So, okay, so this says,
This is.
there's a lease for a
Hmm?
39. This is under the envelope folder and stuffer. So do you need both?
It's 1 unit,
One unit, that's the
it's
tax.
just folder.
So it's for a total of $256.98.
That's monthly, though, isn't it?
Is that a monthly for 39 months?
I'm gonna look online.
Starting with 994.
So they initially proposed one thing and then we added another one to it.
Yes. Client lease,
See, if you wait long enough, nobody can.
I don't remember, but I
Start
can
all
find
over.
out. But hold on. Let me check my name.
Sean, don't we have it budgeted to have this anyway? Sean,
Sorry, I was doing something else. Can you repeat the question?
no, for the stuffer? The folder and stuffer attachment?
We have equipment budgeted for it. It is there. We budgeted a few things, the stuffer. I don't know if we did have a folder, but I don't know if it's, Tommy, is it actually a stuffer?
Yeah,
Okay, so the folder and stuffer was in the budget and the numbers we came up with and the scanners and a couple things that we were missing in the office. You guys are still using some of my equipment, so.
We haven't put them away.
No, we budgeted. It doesn't say we have money.
Sean, where is the money for this?
The money's not here right now. We spent it on pool equipment.
Thank you.
However, next month, let's revisit it. How about that?
Okay, we'll continue.
it's been here forever.
As I
And you know
told,
what? That's okay, because I'll actually get the real price since I can't find it.
I've told everyone before, I try to make everything happen. It just has to happen in time, and I'm sure John can appreciate that. Money doesn't produce itself overnight. I'm not Obama. I can't print it.
That might be the next way to go.
Okay, I can't find it. It's buried in all my agendas.
Okay,
It sounds too expensive, 240, but maybe.
we'll talk about it next month.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we take it out to
What?
Kinko's or whatever that place is? I mean,
Oh, for the one time, I've never treated. It's not like it's the only time. Here, come budget season, we had to do the same thing.
I know.
We do this a few times a year. I don't know if it's worth 247 a month. But it's not.
I don't, yeah, it's like,
Like to sit with us.
go to Kiko's and see how much that would cost.
Well, one of the things we had in Northern Virginia, it's been a while since I did that. If there are some groups that work with the mentally challenged, and do stuff like this, and they do it at a reasonable rate.
Absolutely.
Helps at the same time, so
Yeah,
we use them all the time.
Okay.
That's-
Find somebody.
Colorado had to turn the TV in and they have to take the TV apart, recycle what can be recycled.
yeah, but. You're
For a
right.
nominal
we use
fee.
them in Virginia, also, in California too.
Always
Good
get
idea.
to work.
Yeah. So,
All right, resident input, Jason. You're representing all of them right now.
Is
Some
there-
online.
is there anybody online,
Can we,
Jen?
Well, no, there's no chat.
how many people are online?
3.
There's one that's not
See,
a board member.
They obviously stayed on for something. Can we open the chat and see if they have anything to say, since there's one person?
Can you open the chat?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've never tried to do it, Greg.
Oh,
What's that?
But he can send comments, right?
I think-
But I can't- but I could see things that was-
who is that one dedicated person that stayed on?
Chat.
Shame.
Bill and Barbara Boss are usually online. They listen to every meeting, so. that's kind of nice.
Is it Bill and Barbara Boss, and my next door neighbors?
Are they?
But they're always very complimentary. He spoke to me before you guys came online. He's a nice man.
Nice guy.
Couple that usually sit here.
Yeah, no, they're.
They're actually New England, somewhere, New Jersey.
No, they can't chat, I guess.
Okay.
I heard they're nice people, so they're probably not complaining.
Yeah, we like. them.
No, they'll let me know.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
You guys need coffee.
Or something.
That we do.
Or maybe.
So does he need?
Would you like to add anything? I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. You have a good discussion. It takes a while to process everything out, and you're doing a good job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, no one else? Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All those in
It's
favor?
quick to do
Aye.
this.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks, folks. See you next time.
Meeting adjourned.
Bye, Sean.
Bye,
Be
Sean.
safe.
Thanks, Sean.
So much.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill.
Bye, Bill.